So, hello everybody, and welcome to the big leagues, as we are back into Division 1 of WARNO League Season 2, and we have a really hot matchup here for Fortitude fans versus the guy with the Finnish name that my co-caster can introduce the best. Let's go, Chloride.
Suojeluskunta. Suojeluskunta.
And yeah, he is playing the division that I am the closest to, with Rügener Gruppierung coming in out of northern Germany here, out of northern East Germany, against First UK. And what do you think about this First UK deployment so far?
So the first UK deployment is, so the Chieftain Mark 9 is not the best tank against tanks because it's slow and it only has 12 armor, but it does have a pretty good gun with pretty decent accuracy. So if you have this tank up-vetted, you can actually reach pretty decent rate of fire, and it's cheap enough that you can buy them en masse on this kind of a strategy, for instance. I like to call this convoying. Convoying is when you build, this thing that you're going to do, and then you drive forward and through the enemy. And even if the Chieftain Mark 9 doesn't really have that much survivability, it'll be able to challenge basically everything aside from the T-72s that the Rügener can bring out. And with enough of those 120mm guns, they'll be able to delete a lot of the stuff that is going to come here at the start. The follow-up obviously needs to be way more sensible. You can't just keep spamming chieftains. But as far as using Chieftain Mark 9s, having them 4-stacked with a leader is not the worst idea. There are also AVREs to do the extra HE damage, suppression, and even deletion of ATGM squads. And some track rapiers and mortars likely to be used. The mortar has been queued to smoke out 2 positions already. If you want to show to the audience, this is clearly a pretty well planned out way to armored fist yourself to Charlie, and then likely follow it up with a bunch of rifles units. Very interestingly, the rifles are coming in the APC transport, which is not a good choice in my opinion, because the APC doesn't really have any good weapons, and its road speed is weaker than a regular truck. And if you want your infantry to reach the positions fast, you probably want to have them come in trucks. And but what do you think about the other side? So personally, having tried to play Rügener when it was released, I basically feel like this might be the worst division in the game. What do you think about it?
I actually just played it in ranked earlier today on stream, and I love the KSK. I love the Me-14, and then behind that, there's not much else there, though. Obviously, the Krug is a monster, but it also is priced like the monster it is now. So it isn't clearing you the skies cheaply anymore. And yeah, even the T-72 they get can't compete that easily with upvetted chieftains, as it's only the standard T-72. It doesn't have smoke, it can't disengage, and its gun is also not that great. And yeah, we have Me Too Yearns here. Those are fantastic as well. It has a decent infantry size. It has some interesting tools in the air tab and in the helicopter tab with those Me-14s with the insanely long ATGM, and that could be maybe the tool that we will see from Suojeluskunta to try to deal with those chieftains. But so far I see also nothing really capable of stopping this push. I'm surprised by the Me-8 TB recons here, as they come with the terrible Malyutka M ATGM. It is an ATGM at least, but if the track rapiers get in range, these Me-8s will have a tough time. And the rockets and the guns they get are not that great, and it's still 120 points, so the deployment already basically done, and there's really not a lot of AT on this battlefield. 2 Conquerors ATGMs, and that's about it next to it.
Yeah, I think this attack specifically is gonna fall immediately, getting countered by the armored push of Fortitude. The thing about Rugener is that they have these nice specialized units such as the MI2 urns and the KSK, and you think that you might be able to do some aggro gameplay or do some kind of a special forces opener, and then follow it up with large numbers of your cheap Polish infantry and your pretty decent but still not that great tanks. But in practice, the openers just are not powerful enough. The 75-point KSK, as trying to use it as a forward deployment unit when it's you're paying extra for the recon, and then its only support being the MI2 urns, which will immediately get one shot by any anti-air missile. The MI2s, the urns actually have really good weapons. With the cannons and the rockets, it's kind of like a better Gazelle cannon, and they have a good veterancy also, so they fire faster. But if you have multiples of them, in my experience, they're not really going to survive. The chieftains are also vetted up to elite with the chieftain Mark 11 leader here. So the rockets are not going to be able to do any kind of suppression to the tanks here. Though they
Recon
will be
at
able
least
to take up
gets sniped immediately, but there are 2 tractor piers. There is a javelin team around on the battlefield as well, and that should be decent AA coverage together with a Tornado AA already coming in as well. No Krug or anything on the battlefield to protect these helicopters. Me-8 under fire. First Me-2 already down. Second one gets killed off here as well, as the tractor appears. Fire into them, and yeah, all Me-2s already down here, and the Centurion and Chieftain blob is ready to start. T-55 Meridas coming in. They might try to kite the enemy here. They have the 2,200 meter range, but against the chieftains, they still will only deal minimal damage against the 12 frontal armor. So it will still be problematic to try to kill this.
Yeah, in practice, the chieftains are gonna have, what is it, like 5 points more damage with only 2 points less armor, and the chieftains are vetted up, which is a massive advantage, because the tanks, obviously being slow tanks, they can't escape from firefights, which means that they're gonna they're gonna have to have stress resistance. Otherwise, they're gonna slow down or and lose their accuracy, very crucially. But so far, the KSK have managed to get into the southwestern point of Fortitude. But Fortitude is sending Lynx transported scouts, which are maybe some of the maybe the best 4-man squads unit in the game for pretty expensive 45 points. Not really great to work as line infantry, and the Lynxes do actually have machine guns, which might prove useful against the KSK, considering that Suojeluskunta doesn't have any AA to defend this.
Yeah, we see now a crew coming in. We see Suojeluskunta at least finally taking the center here and getting a +4 on which even a +6, as there is no CV in Delta yet either for Fortitude fans, only coming around yet. Fortitude fans giving the rest of the field pretty cheaply to Suojeluskunta, but really paying for it, or letting the enemy pay for it with units killed in the center here so far.
Oh, Protoss, your favorite unit and my least favorite, the Mi-14 PL, the one-shot super long-range 80
yeah, it is the only tool that he can use here effectively. Like, these guys, they one-shot those tanks, and they have the 3,000 meter range. If you micro them correctly, they can zone out the enemy push pretty decently, as they outrange the tractor piers as well. So, if you want to win this game, you need to keep those chieftains contained, and the Mi-14 is the best unit to do so. Normal Conquerors teams, they can get overrun, plus they also can get smoked off. The Mi-14 with its mobility, is a bit harder to smoke off, and also it looks just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I really like Soviet equipment in like civilian or United Nations regalia. Big fan of it. But so far, the Suojeluskunta doesn't have anything that can push out the rover that is moving into the southern zone. But there is a Motorschützenführer, which means that this is only going to remove 2 points and keep the +2 coming for the Rugener. And with a spamming of Maljutka trucks coming in, 17 pen actually works really well against the chieftains, but the Maljutkas, I guess the 50-point accuracy is not that bad.
Yeah, a lot of those old ATGMs on these guys. They are just also pretty slow flying, so you want to have them fire on long range. The Piechota switch with the RPG 7VM there, getting a kill onto some military police. And it's only a +2 by now for our red player here. We have a lot of Gazelle rockets hunting down the remaining units behind the lines here as well. The Kaska desperately trying to evade them. And yeah, this +2 is nice and all. 600 points is great, but how do you protect it? That is the big question here. And yeah, the Mi-14s will have a lot of work cut out for them.
Yeah, I think this might be the best position for Rugener, which is that they got a nice 700, 500 point lead, and now they can try to whittle down the tank blob with their very with their very deep deck filled with cheap units. It is a reserve formation, which means that it can afford to lose stuff, whereas especially the elite vetted up British troops here can't really afford to lose that much. But Fortitude really is not a player to play long grinding down games. Fortitude goes in and does not go back. At least that has been my experience. With taking out the Maljutskas already, with the 75 accuracy at max range coming for the Chieftain Mark 9s, easily dispatching these trucks.
Yes, they really can't take direct fight to you. Need to try to fight side shot, and Fortitude defense is making that annoying with all the stuff. But the first chieftain goes down, and it is immediately the chieftain Mark 11, taking away some veterancy. Second, Mi-14 goes down a bit too early here. Lands before its missile can go close to the target. But they will disengage here now, will come around with more ammo soon, and...
Suojeluskunta has snuck up. There was only the APC was covering this road, and Suojeluskunta has snuck up a Motorschützenführer into Delta, leading into soon to be a +8, I believe. No, +6.
Yeah, +6. The second CV in the zone, helping out with the contest there for now. No AA against the Gazelle rockets right now, as the MG or the AA gun truck got killed off earlier. The Meridas using the smoke, the only tank that has smoke on packed side in this matchup. So they have to be used carefully. You don't get that many of those. And we have the other funny and pretty strong tool of Rugener coming in, the SPW-50 PKs with the mine clearing tools that can also be used to blow up things because they have a lot of explosives. And they have pretty low range, but if they hit, they will do the damage. So let's see if they can find some solid positioning here in targeting. Currently, I'm not liking their pathing. Let's see if that will change in a second.
Yeah, being a 45 kph unit with basically no or minimal armor, I doubt that these mine warfares are going to be able to accomplish a lot. There aren't really large infantry concentrations here, but yeah, they get rerouted to safety for now. There's still a +4 going on. No reaction has happened that we can recognize from Fortitude, and the Motorschützenführer seems to be leading. So the basic way here the basic way in this game that you want to play against tank blob is that you want to stretch them. You don't want to engage them head on. You want to engage the sides, you want to engage the flanks, and you want to force them to start pulling off units and against your lightly held map control. And we're seeing that Suelos is using the MI2 urns, the cheap recon units all around the map, and some ATGMs as well, to hold pretty nice map control, but it's obvious that you can't engage this directly. And this backline action might actually be crucial here. This has already netted more than 500 points extra, I think.
Yeah, Me 14 also now coming around with another shot against some chieftains. Chieftains popping their smoke just in time. Second Me 14 without ammo. The other one, coming under fire now. Krug gets the kill. First missile coming in, sniping the tornado there, letting it crash right next to the Me 14. Second tornado comes around. Krug not quite in range this time around, as the other Me 14 will need to get reloaded. Chieftains pushed back out. Mochitson leader still alive, but the scouts with the low 80s have found it, killed the transport, and will hunt down the leader soon, most likely as well. Strelas and Krug though on the tornado. Strelas getting some damage. Krug not finding the kill this time around, and yeah, forcing it back. And the Me 14 on the ground against the Chieftain. Chieftain trying to aim up. Doesn't get the shot on target, but the Me 14 misses as well. So, yeah, we don't have a tick anymore on the battlefield. We have a couple of helicopters here trying to get close. The Strelas keep on missing. And the Me 14 gets the kill on the ground because the Chieftain doesn't miss it. Lucky times there. And another Chieftain bites the dust. Another one under fire by the Me 14 from the north. Gets stunned down there. The thing is that they can fire it also from the ground. So it's a long range 3000 meter crowned ATGM as well if you have it in the open. Which I hope is a mechanic that Eugen will fix eventually. That helicopters can use their weapons from the ground. But at the moment it can be used like Soyos Kunta did there. And yet our two cheesiest players in Division 1 really going at it here.
Yeah, at this point, I really don't see a way for Suelos to push forwards. This map is too narrow, and there's just too many units on board. Warrior uplink on defense will be able to crack up the T-55s easy with the Milan 2 missiles. The Spartan MCTs that transport the Milan 2s also have Milan 2s of their own. So when it comes to attacking, I don't think Rugener has the capacity to do that anymore. Not on this map, not with these trades. But I do think it might be possible to challenge to contest the alpha zone long enough for the game to end. I mean, it is 27 minutes left. We are only 13 minutes in, but if Fortitude keeps striking and attacking into these into well-planned defenses, I think Rugener might do something. But even though in a standard matchup and in standard engagements, I do think that the British will take it every time.
Oh, tornadoes coming in for the Me 14s. The Krugs not shooting there. Me 14 number 1 goes down. The second one under fire here. Okay, one tornado gets shut down. Gazelle rockets not able to kill the second Me 14. And the V50 with the double 25mm turret in the rear, which is looking a bit cursed as well, not gonna lie. Gets a couple more kills there. Tornado AA getting smacked, and Soyos Kunta is kind of doing it here. I hope the second card of Me 14 is around as well, as they are really crucial units here so far. And yeah, first one doing decent so far.
Yeah, so far we're seeing reinforcements coming in for Fortitude Fence include anti-air only, and yeah, this is a situation for Fortitude. Fortitude pushing the scouts low 80 up front, having these chieftains in firing positions, they will be able to protect this rover CP for now. If Suojeluskunta starts buying artillery, this will be a significantly different engagement. Oh, Suojeluskunta is buying a command helicopter. The cheese goes far in here. Round 2 of attempting to get into the back point is. But yeah, so far there is no leader on the alpha point. The UAS needs to move front, otherwise the rover will be able to get a +4.
The SPW is also
firing.
missing completely here. And yeah, we have the +4 now for the blue side, and that is a problem. Merida is slowly pushing in here, but there is a scout with a Law 80 around, and that will smack them quite nicely. We have a couple of Modschützen coming in here as well. The UATs slowly moving back into the zone. Scouts getting decent damage onto the Merida already. Not quite killing it with the second one. The other Merida going over the edge, getting killed by the Chieftains. And the Scout actually out of ammo here now. But I don't see how you push into the Centurions and the Chieftains that are here. The T-55s will try, but there's Milan 2s and a Spartan with Milan 2s as well. So the T-55s have no chance of pushing in there. And that is a pretty big problem here right now for Suojeluskunta, as that push could be really costly.
First UK is a really good matchup into this division, because First UK, famously being a British division, doesn't have the top NATO equipment. It doesn't. It has slightly worse versions of other stuff. The Challengers are like a main battle tank, except worse. Chieftains are solid enough, but with their obsolete armor, they can't really work against the newer generation of tanks or tanks in general. But when it comes to striking against reserve formations, the First UK can really just flex all of its muscles. The rifles have good enough infantry weapons and excellent AT weapons, which means that reserved divisions are going to find it difficult to try to use the lighter vehicles to engaging them. Having good AT weapons is countered by the enemy's tanks having good speed, because that way you can micro them away and not do basic mistakes and lose tanks against them. But with something like the T-55 Meridas with the 54 kph, if they get hit with the launcher, they're probably going to get hit by the launcher again. And now we're seeing the Milan 2 striking the T-55s on the open here. And T-55s getting a side shot even, but not really trading up.
Yeah, Centurions coming closer here as well. The Chieftains are the real problem here. You can't deal with those with the T-55As, and the T-55As have another issue. No smoke installed, so they can't disengage either. Once they're out in the open and under fire, they're slow and they can't run. Tornado's getting crooked here though, so that part of the game plan is still working out. Second tornado gets crooked as well. Oh no! Oh, it gets to me too while it's going down though. Unfortunate times there for Suojeluskunta, and also with that, the plan is completely shown off to the enemy here. The Su-22 cluster runs a suicide run and gets the kill here onto the enemy CV, so the tick is stopped once more, but it's still not even half time here. And the first UK armored here still getting more and more units online. The first couple of warrior pleaks coming in now, they will hit all the enemy armor really hard as well with Milan 2s. And the Mi-14s, there is one coming in here right now, but it already fired its missile. More are necessary to really do some more damage here.
Yeah, the British are just gonna keep on scaling well here. If this was a if this wasn't, if Suojeluskunta had traded and hurt the blob well enough, had taken some of these tanks out in the game so far, the potential to build up an ATGM defense would be pretty good. But every time that ATGMs have been bought, the tank blob has managed to engage them well enough. Even by taking out even though the tornadoes have been taken out so far, First UK has really good and reliable bombing aircraft, and with a decent enough infantry tab, ordering in 5 assault pioneers on 0 vet, meaning that there is depth to these. these assault pioneers can absolutely challenge all of the infantry one-on-one, and when that happens, the fire support is going to decide it, and the fire support, do I even need to say it? It's obviously on the side of NATO.
Yeah, we still have the Mi-14s, we still have the Coffin launchers, we still have the Krooks, but outside of that, it's not super much. The mine clearing tools setting up here once more with a big line and their big missiles, trying to get the tractor Piers into range, and they get the kills on both of them, but the Mi-14 dies just beforehand. Not able to dodge them with going back down, and that means that that is the last Mi-14 on the battlefield right now. There might be one more to buy in, but a single one can't really do the full contest that two of them can do, because it always has to go back to reload after firing one missile. When you have two, you can rotate them in and out and basically keep the enemy contained non-stop, or risking to lose units. And with that, the chieftains and warriors here have a lot easier time now pushing forward. And yeah, you don't have the infantry units to really deal with that. You don't have any IFVs. Your infantry units don't have a lot of ATGMs that are special or so. You don't have any special forces in that regard. No Kokons or anything like that. And that leads to some issues here.
Yeah, it's kind of the British need to just go through the motions here, because you can win any engagement if you have big enough superiority. And Rügener is at this point, Rügener just can't build up enough to challenge the numbers with the British, not with their inferior units. They can do nice stuff, such as capturing the lower midpoint right now, having the infantry fight off and get a corner here, has allowed Suojeluskunta to grab the point and maybe a slight point lead here. But as soon as the point gets recaptured, there is no way for Suojeluskunta to hold this right now. Also, the British are attacking down south as well, even though that attack seems to be countered so far.
Yeah, rifles and Milan 2s coming in there. The Coffin launchers setting up another shot here. Getting one off, getting nice kills. Second one doesn't even need to shoot anymore. Could switch targets. That's the real strong thing about them. Second one still might go off here. Oh no, Cyril's going to might kill his own Monschützen there. Oh no. Okay, it's just a wasted shot. At least doesn't kill the last remaining Monschützen, but as it was only one Monschütz, it doesn't even matter that much anyways. T-55A is pushing forward. More of them coming in. The last remaining Mi-14P coming in as well for the long-range ATGMs, and the tank numbers have been reduced decently. The warriors not able to push any further. The assault pioneers don't have AT. The issue are still the Milans and the swing fires here. The T-55s could push the rest, but against that they can't really compete.
Yeah, the assault pioneers really just need to find the enemy, and the tanks will do the rest of the work for them. So far, I would like to see. I mean, so many of these chieftains have almost run out of fuel so far, which kind of tells you.
So Yoskunta got the sneak into the southern zone. Yuat's there, gets shot at now though. Tries to disengage there, might be able to escape for now. And we have the KGMU with the cluster coming in, immediately going out, not dropping its bombs. But the CV goes down in the south. Got a +2 there for a couple more seconds. Got himself 70, 60 more points there. But the CV in the north goes down now as well. The T-55As, they're completely overwhelmed by all the ATGMs on the other side. And we see the Coffin launchers now being pushed back to the north as well. Krook, they're in danger too. There's no real fighting force left here. There's only the gimmicks. And that is not where you want to be at this point. You want to have a healthy line of infantry in front of all of your stuff as Rügener Gruppierung, and then use the shenanigans from there, but that is not what we have in front of us here.
Yeah, Rügener works best when, such as with the reserve divisions generally, doing some very risky early game special forces and helicopter activity, and then following it up with masses of units that are good enough at close range engagements. You can have your reservists and you can have your Polish zero-vet troops for 35 points. You can have a lot of decent units as long as you don't face a tank blob. And the tank blob was faced here, and the tank blob ended up even with the Suojeluskunta playing this excellently and playing to the strengths of the division. The strengths of the division just don't work here. On something, if this had been a town fight in Hesse or in Two Lakes, the capacities of the Marine Pioneers and the KSKs could have really been put to use, but not here. Not when you have the plateau, which is just the perfect place to engage on your preferred range.
Yeah, the only hope for Suojeluskunta would be now to snipe enemy CVs and get your own maybe moved around again, but it's still 15 minutes and there is enough CVs around here. More already being bought. We already have the +4. We're about to go to a +8, and at that point, it's gonna be really kind of over here.
Yeah, snipe with what? What exactly here can be used to kill enemy units? I guess the Mi-14 and maybe the airplanes.
Yeah, you could maybe use some more airplanes, as a good amount of enemy airplanes have been shut down, most of their fighters. S-22 cluster is around, but the CV already is in the zone here, and the +8 will swing around the game so quick. Like a +8 is taking up like crazy fast. We'll end the game in 3 minutes 6 with a full-on victory, and we might even go higher. Cluster gets onto the chieftain in the south, but it still gets neutralization, so it's a +10, as we have no single CV on the battlefield here right now on the red side, and that means that can't even be changed within the next minute or so. So it will get the tick equalized here at least, and most likely more here. And yeah, that's the Rügener experience here right now. The division for sure could use a bit more love in its infantry segment, so that it can use those gimmicks a bit easier. I think its tank tap is fine. It's not the weakest tank tap out there, but its infantry tap is a bit too weak for a division that should rely on that tap a lot more.
Yeah, just some more ability to follow up the KSK, some fast transported, nice infantry squads, maybe have the Marine Pioneers supported by large 10 or 12 man Marine Schützen, something like this. I'm sure they can figure it out. But though it's also just the fact that not all divisions are going to be competitive. And with the gimmicks, the mine launchers, the Krugs, and the ability to spam units, I'm sure that Rügener does have its place when it comes to 10v10 games.
Yes. They have for sure the meme potential. A slight buff would still be nice. I'm pretty sure it will never be the top division, but making it a side pick for some specific matchups would be nice, and currently it doesn't really even get there. Whilst Mi-14 PL gets another shot around. Gets another kill onto a Spartan, but yeah, it won't save this division here right now. We have a UATS, we have a Mi-2D, but we already have more points now for Fortitude Fans than we have for Suojeluskunta, and the tick just continues here, +12, ending the game really, really quickly here right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame Suojeluskunta for trying. They have successfully used their massive hordes of game knowledge to play some weaker divisions into victory earlier. I think that's kind of the thing, and I absolutely can respect that. Having played a rank 19 player with 3rd armored earlier on today, I can absolutely respect the people who try to make this stuff work, especially in League. But Rügener is not it's not Berlin Command. It is actually just bad.
Yeah, and we have a victory here for Fortitude Fans in game number 1 with a pretty clean KD in the end as well. So Suojeluskunta did get some kills for sure, but it wasn't good enough. The early game already, the start already derailing it pretty heavily. The Yearns all not working out at all, and a couple of other unfortunate losses there. The Mi-14 getting through pretty nicely. The Krug with 4 kills doing its job as well. The coffin launchers doing their part too, but everything else, all the non-shenanigans units, not quite up to the task, and that leads to the W here for Fortitude fans, and for us to just say, let's see if Soyalskunta brings a better division and a better plan for Game 2.
I am personally extremely excited for the next game. I don't know about you, but maybe you should be.
Yeah, these two always bring the good cheese. So let's see what kind of flavored cheese we will get the next one, guys.
On Hesse.
Oh, quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with Hesse between these two mad lads.
I know that love is hard, it takes time. Girl, I'm still in love, you know, right? Can we make this up in due time? Tell me, will you stay in my life? I know that love is hard, it takes time. Girl, I'm still in love, you know, right? Can we make this up in due time? Tell me, will you stay in my life? Baby girl, what's up? Girl, I need your sign. Baby girl, speak up. Hit me up tonight. I wanna set everything right. Just let me put everything right, alright. I wanna set everything right. Just let me put everything right, alright. Girl, my antenna doesn't work so right. It's hard to shake it up, it don't feel right. Can you pick it up and please do right? I wanna let you know that you are still mine. Cause I will never let you go, oh no. Without you when my bed is so cold. You're my queen, girl, don't you know? I wanna be by your side. I know that love is hard, it takes time. Girl, I'm still in love, you know, right? Can we make this up in due time? Tell me, will you stay in my life? I know that love is hard, it takes time. Girl, I'm still in love, you know, right? Can we make this up in due time? Tell me, will you stay in my life? Baby girl, what's up? Girl, I need your sign. Baby girl, speak up. Hit me up tonight. I wanna set everything right. Just let me put everything right.
And here we go. Game number 2. Fortitude fans up 1-0. And yeah, we went from mediocre medium tanks to mediocre medium tanks for Fortitude fans. And we went from a nemesis. Oh no,
A reserve division.
reserve division pack up coming in to a reserve division coming in here from the DLC plus pack here, from the pre-order plus pack with the 35th Infantry on Soyalskunta side. So this should be pretty interesting. And guys, if you want to help out these guys, getting a bit rewarded for all their action they're bringing us, check out the Matcherino page, as we still have free codes to be claimed there, and free money for these players to be added that they deserve for these entertaining matches for us. And you don't even have to pay anything. All you have to do is click the claim code button up here. And then you add free money to the prize pool immediately. We still have 29 codes to be claimed. And you guys can help out with that. If you subscribe to the Matcherino YouTube channel, it's another 30 cents there. And yeah, we will give that out to the top players in the end. And we're also gonna have some lovely stretch goals there soon. I have forgotten to put them in there. We will put them in there soon. But let's focus on the game, as it seems like a similar strategy than game number 1, just with some packed medium tanks this time around.
Yeah, I mean, for Fortitude Fend. So the thing about the 35th Mechanized Infantry Division is that it is apparently it is formed as a cavalry formation, or it contains cavalry formations. In practice, this means recon tanks and large recon infantry. If you look down south, you can see the NG cavalry scouts with the dragons, recon units, full infantry squads, even transported in helicopters, and the M60 older generation M60s, not the TTS ones, being brought as ACAVs, aka Recon Forward Deployment Tanks. These NG Cav Scouts are some of the better units coming from 35th, and they're basically the only way that this division can get anything done in the early game. And it seems like there's been 2 cards of them taken for Suojeluskunta, so they obviously like it. But this being an American reserve division, fully reserve, basically no units are regulars here. All of them are National Guards. But being Americans, they do get ITOs on large amounts, both in cars and on foot, as well as pretty decent infantry equipment for their troops. So if this becomes a infantry versus infantry fight, the NG guys will likely be able to hold their own with weapons such as the recoilless rifles for the NG engineers and even flamers for the NG engineers. 10-man squads for 40 points, absolutely not that bad. One of the main deals about the 35th is that you can actually up-vet your reservist units. So you don't have to have 0 vet units with the debuff of the reservist, but you can have regular infantry units with the debuff of the reservist. And this completely changes them around and rewards players for using military police and leader units. And but so far, I doubt that we're going to see that much concentrated infantry action, because Fortitude Fence is going heavily into mech.
Yeah, it's a bit weird to play T-72s on a map that, in its open territory, has so many long-range engagements. Like, they're not the fastest. They're also not having the long-range shots. So you can kite them with ATGMs. You can even deal with them decently on the long range, maybe with M60s, though National Guard M60s is not something you want to rely on in this matchup. But yeah, it's once more a really interesting matchup here. And yeah, it's once more Fortitude fans going for the absolute wrecking ball of a setup here, with only 1 mod Schützen for the north. And outside of that, we only have recon infantry, and then it's all mechanized. We have double coup and 5 T-72s, 2 Conquerors, and that's all we get here.
Yeah, the Suojeluskunta pretty intelligently took out the recon tanks. You only get 2 of them, I believe, or maybe 3. And you don't want to waste them in a head-on engagement against an obviously superior tank force. So investing more into being able to take map control in the urban areas, and so if you look at the position of Alpha and Lima, in between them there is a suburban area, a neighborhood, and if you can reach that neighborhood with your infantry, if you can have enough map control that you can start moving infantry units there safely, that can allow you to attack 2 sides, can allow you to put in ITOs, ATGMs, and it's just an excellent position. And with enough ATGM support, it's very difficult to drive off units in between Alpha and Lima with your tanks. And Suojeluskunta's infantry blob seems to be moving exactly there, and that might be that might be the way that the tank blob can be countered. And but so far the Spezialaufklärer and the Motoraufklärer will absolutely spot this, giving advanced warning to Fortitude Fence. Though on the other side, if the tanks show themselves, or even the coups show themselves too fast, the 35th does have a pretty strong air tap, including F-111 LGB bombers.
Yeah, T-72s and T-72Ms slowly pushing in here. We have a +1 right now for Suojeluskunta that won't last too long though, but this push into the in-between zone is going to be interesting. Double Mi-24 DAT in the north here right now for the defensive part of this. The National Guard, Cav Scouts coming down here in a second. Trying to get some infantry out. Dragons get shot up by the Hinds immediately though. And that is not really something you can change right now here as Soyol Skunta. Once spotted, these guys have little room to escape, and there's no AA or aircraft around right now to help them out. But the capturing of that neighborhood that we were talking about, that is going to lead to some interesting duels later on. For now though, the T-72 ball is the one that is moving.
Yeah, there are the F-16 AA2s, the shotgun fighters. I believe they do get them for 35th, which would be a perfect counter to the Mi-24Ds, but that would also risk flying over the coops and letting the coops get some free damage done early on. Suojeluskunta clearly isn't that invested into getting to the back point, and this investment of helicopters so far... Oh no, but there's a seed plane! The Roland... The Roland dodges both the Malyutka and the seed missile and runs home fast. The special trait of this American Roland is that it has maximum road speed. It's a 108 speed, which means that you can actually kind of micro it and peak up with it, which is what Suojeluskunta did successfully there. Also had a bit of luck. The Soviet
the seat comes around though, snipes it off. Duster goes down as well. The second Roland did get microed, but the one that came in behind it didn't, and that allowed the seaplane to get a kill in after all. F-16AT comes in, gets immediately sniped as well, and the T-72 push down here is going on. The National Guard's Ito jeeps not moving away, not kiting well enough, and that just leads to them going down. The T-72 MK soon coming in as well, and yeah, we soon gonna have the capture here of the Zulu point by the T-72 MK. And with that, the tick is going to end for Soyol-Skunta with the capture of X-Ray. It will start to take for Fortitude Fence, unless the National Guard engineers running into the Mudshits in the north. I don't think they're gonna survive there. They dodge one RPG, but they still keep on moving. Soyol-Skunta now realizing it, gets them unloaded, but the Mudshits is still the better infantry here right now. There's no support around.
Yeah, the helicopters. The NG Stinger has not been unloaded, giving free hits for both the bomber.
Oh no, my goodness! The MiG-23 HE just wiped out all the infantry in the rear. This game is going horrible for Soyol-Skunta so far. They need to find something going well here right now. Oh, that MiG-23 hit the infantry way too plopped up, and it got punished magnificently here by Fortitude Fence.
Yeah, blobbing infantry units like that is not good for the reasons that you just witnessed. But on the other hand, if you meet enemy infantry units and you have 4 strong, especially close quarters in fighting infantry units, you can kind of blob them and move them from house to house, doing very good damage very fast and eliminate any singular enemies that they face. But that is the risk that you take. That is the... the NG Stinger actually managing to gain 2 levels by destroying a Mi-24D. 2 of the helicopters have been taken down. The engineer leader was taken out before the reinforcement gunships arrive, but so far there is no air defense, so the gunships might actually just take the northern point. But meanwhile, Fortitude Fence is trying to get over the top of the railway hill, and which will lead it directly into a concave of Itos, Dragons, and even some of the upgraded TTS tank thermal sights pattern tanks.
Yeah, Mod Aufklärer moving around.
No, wait, they're retreating. They're running off. They're not going over the top.
They have not enough recon around there. You don't want to risk them. You're already ahead here. You got the kills. You can go for X-Ray. You can just get the take up and let the enemy come at you. And letting the enemy have to come at you on Hesse is really strong, because they have to cross the center line. They have to push into your territory. They can't just sit in the middle and wait for the rest of the game. They have to push deep, which might happen here in the north. So Skunta are still in a good position to get alpha here now, after the gunships got some kill into the Mudshits in there. But until then, Fortitude Fans most likely gonna get ahead in points, as Soyol-Skunta not moving in just yet with the National Guard leaders. And The second one coming up, but that still is a bit out. Okay, it might actually be close to draw territory at that point.
Yeah, so the way for Fortitude Fence to lose this is, in my opinion, is repeated attacks against urban ATGM formations. Suojeluskunta wants to build up the perfect engagements, wants to lure them to drive in without recon and use, or maybe even abuse, the fact that the ATGMs are really difficult to spot even when they start firing, especially in buildings. And they and the vetting up of these T-72s means that they are more, that generally if you're playing 7th, you want to play with your numbers, but Fortitude cannot really afford to lose these tanks in a way that you generally do that. And Suojeluskunta also knows that this blob will not get stretched. Fortitude will not start sending singular units into different parts of the map, because that is when they start getting taken out by hidden ITOs and fast-moving ITO cars. So Fortitude here just building up the armored force and moving it right to a November, which is the back point of Suojeluskunta.
Yeah, trying to run past by here. Ito coming in, gets some damage, but it's only an Ito, it's not a TOW 2. It doesn't slap all that hard here against the T-72's decent frontal armor. And it will get overrun here in a second. MiG-23 helping out as well. Not enough AA in the north, only one Roland after the other one got hit by the seat. So the push can begin, and the push is moving in. There is really not that much AT around here. We have some recoilless rifles, but they have been nerfed in range, and they also don't really one-shot these things. Ito gets a kill onto an SPW, but the T-72s and co will finish off in a second. Yeah, and then they will move on, and this is going to be a really tough defense here on November, but it might be possible. Like, moving through this town, maybe underestimating how much stuff Suojeluskunta has around there, opens you up for side shots.
I think Suojeluskunta could attack Lima here. I don't know if Jan knows that, but with these limited troops, with these tanks, they could just go and try to get Lima right now that the rest of the force has showed themselves. But I think Fortitude is kind of realistically thinking that no way are they going to risk losing their units against a couple of infantry units in defense. There are no infantry units in defense. The zone is completely clear right now, but not that Suojeluskunta knows that.
Yes, and the T-72s keep on moving in here. The Roland actually got destroyed as it had its AA turned off, as it had to worry about the seat, and then it just got bombed into the ground. There's not enough supporting AA was in there that could have shut down the planes. Only the Duster, which is decent against helicopters. It's not a great AA against planes. And in the meantime, nothing moving in the south. MiG-23 coming in for the TOW Cobras. Shilka coming in there as well. Both together could do the job. Shilka actually goes down, but the second MiG-23 finishes first TOW Cobra. Second one should disengage soon, and the T-72 blob keeps on moving to the left side here.
Yeah, the lack of air control is what it looks really bad for Suojeluskunta here. The fact that these engagements are taken with the DDR troops having the air superiority is just massive. One of the only ways here to contest the blob straight up would be to contest it via air. Tanks, infantry, they can't do it. But removing the coups somehow and then sending in some LGB bombers, now that would be completely different. Though resources of the Americans are being used to buy even more infantry, so who knows what is going to come after this.
Yeah, we get towards the tick here now for the red side. There is a CV still in here with an engineer leader, but that one most likely going to get overrun soon here. Duster have to disengage. The engineer leader rotating north as well. The second one, F-16AA, coming in here, but it's outnumbered, and it gets shut down by the MiG-23 MLs here with the long-range radar missiles, which it can't compete with. And Yeah, there's too little AA here. The seed plane did its job. The Roland's going down allows the MiG-23s and co to run rampant, and yeah, if there's somebody who is good at bombing your stuff, it is Fortitude Fence. He is the master of the air spam, and yeah, he will use that completely recklessly here now as well.
Yeah, the down south there's a recon unit is bought for Suojeluskunta to try to figure out what's going on around Zulu. There's actually this is once again a situation when having just some air control would allow a counterattack. Taking out this Shilka with an AT plane or an LGB plane, and then having the cheap gunships kill the recon, kill the Conquerors. This could allow a very good stretching of the blob while the tank forces are up north, but losing the air superiority is really hampering the ability of 35th to do anything.
Yeah, ATGM coming for the coops, getting some kills there. MiG-23 bombing the Ito immediately, and T-72s are still all doing quite fine, and they're setting up for a potential push, but they don't even need to do that. They have the +2 now. Fortitude Fence is getting ahead in points. Seed plane and MiG-23s coming for the National Guard scouts here in the south as well. There's no AA to protect that. The UE already going down. We have some more Rolands coming in. We have an F-16, but it's only a single one against 3 planes on the other side. Could have maybe chased down one, but
no, it's slower. It's slower than the MiG-23s. It couldn't have.
And the Spezialaufklärer coming around here now. Versus the National Guard scouts, pushing it back actually in CQC. Shilka pushing forward will kill the UE. UE, a really slow transport helicopter compared to others, and that killed it here. Didn't allow it to land. Pretty flimsy as well, and now we have the whole T-72 plop moving to the south again, so the chance of moving in there is pretty much gone now, whilst the north is not strong enough to push against the now decent defensive line that Fortitude Defense has set up there, and this game is looking like it's slipping out of Suojeluskunta's hands completely now.
Yeah, the ACAVs getting sent here to do some attack, but the Fortitude has already had time to buy even more ATGMs up here, supported by, of course, the recon units that will be able to spot for them. The F-16 AA2s are amazing planes because they have the AIM-9M, the best heat-seeking missiles, the best short-range air-to-air missiles so far in the game. And they have amazing accuracy, and you fire 2 at once, and you get 6 of them. And it's an F-16, so it's pretty fast, and it's got 30 ECM and exceptional agility. But sending those things one by one against a larger force of enemy planes, even when those enemy planes have bad long-range missiles, they'll still be able to intercept it and keep it away. So the air fight really is I don't know what Suojeluskunta should have bought to destroy the like they could, but what else could have they bought? Should they have less infantry and then massed air supremacy fighters when those air supremacy fighters can be microed to engage on long range? You know, it's a difficult choice. It really is that the Roland should have carried this air game here, and the Roland should have made way for the F-16s and the F-111s to do some damage here, and this just never happened. So all of these infantry forces are doomed to fight an ever-growing blob of elite tanks.
Yeah, so it's going to also failing to micro the AT units early on in the game, which are supposed to text the T-72 plops here to get some damage, to kite them, to force them to move into unpleasant positions or just give up pushing, and they just died. Like, they didn't move, they got rolled over and they just fell apart, and now we see the air getting disassembled here completely now as well, and that's basically the moment to tap out. Yeah, right, there we go, and it's GG. Fortitude Fence winning 2-0, as that game just didn't go Suojeluskunta's way at all. that went pretty badly from the get-go. And yeah, just showing that 35th is a tough division to play, and maybe not the optimized playstyle there for it on the map and in the matchup.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to know that what potential divisions did Suojeluskunta have to pick.
I mean,
Because
it doesn't really matter
do,
with Soyos like, he will never pick the best division for the map. He will pick the best fun for himself. We never seen him picking the best division for a matchup out of the like obvious meta. We just see him what he wants to play. He always wants to throw the enemy a bit off, but so does 42 Fans. And 42 Fans 1 is just a bit more meta right now, and that wins the game here.
Yeah, that is true, but there are some pretty bad divisions that can do well on Hesse. I think even something like TKS or even 11E could deal pretty decently with the tank blobs on Hesse, considering both of them have the ability to have very good infantry with very good infantry AT weapons, and both of them could have also had I mean, well, 11E less so because they don't get long range AA, but they could have also contested the air, which is important against 7th. But Suojeluskunta walks their own paths,
Yeah, and that one most likely doesn't lead into the playoffs now with the loss here, but we still have some other contenders there, and we still have some more games coming your ways, guys, so don't you run away. More Division 1 matchups coming in for you, and we're gonna be back with a bit more action there in a second. So, quick break, then we're gonna be back with the next series from the hot Division 1 brackets.
I wanna set everything right. Just let me put everything right. Oh, 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 yeah. I know sometimes I've been playing with you. Still, your smile is my favorite. I need a chance to be real with you. Me and you, we gon' make it. I fight with you through the highs and lows. Lay your burdens in my hands, don't go. Cause I don't wanna lose control. Baby girl, just come. I know that love is hard, it takes time. Girl, I'm still in love, you know, right? Can we make this up in due time? Tell me, will you stay in my life? I know that love is hard, it takes time. Girl, I'm still in love, you know, right? Can we make this up in due time? Tell me, will you stay in my life? Mama Africa, you might as well do me. You're like a real friend, never betray me. You are my light, you shine, you bright, you right, just face it. You are my light, you shine, you bright, you right, just face it. Hey, young, hey, young, hey, young, hey, young, hey, young.
And here we go with some awesome matchup as well. Stahlbrecher versus Chaichan. And Stahl and Chaichan here coming in with two of my favorite divisions in the game. As we have on the left side in blue, Stahl bringing in Berliner Kommando, or Berlin Command. And on the right side, Chaichan bringing in Kampfgruppen der Arbeiterklasse Bezirk Erfurt with a lot of reserve units, a couple of good artillery pieces, and a decent amount of T-62s versus all the NATO forces on the other side that are mostly second line though. And
Well, it's second line, but it mixes up with a bunch of specialized special forces units, such as the Posse B, the Physical Security Support Element Berlin, the False Flag Squad in the civilian uniforms, as well as I believe, the Border Guard Tactical Unit with the SEK, serving as very good recon units. The recon units that will be able. I don't think they have the worst sniper rifles. Damn, they don't have the really good sniper rifles, unfortunately. So they can't do the same thing that Deltas and the SAS patrols can do, where they can engage in 1,200 meters. But
they
so
are
far,
a special for a CQC shock force. They are a police Sondereinsatzkommando, so special force for events when the police needs somebody out somewhere. So they are good at preaching and so on. That's why they have shock, but they're not a special force in the military sense. So they don't get the special forces straight there. Still, with the MP5, they can deal a lot of damage in CQC.
yeah, and they seem to be going straight into Echo with trying to not go into the Two Towers region per se, but trying to secure the position northwest of Echo's corner, which will be a very good position to launch ATGMs on any enemies that are trying to recapture Echo. I think on this map, if you're a beginner and you're playing this map, a lot of people go straight up into the Two Towers. The Two Towers are they're logical positions to strike, and if you control this area, surely if you control this area, you can use it to attack any of the positions. So obviously you want to attack this heavily fortifiable area. No, you don't. It is a quagmire trying to send in troops to fight in this urbanized environment in which the enemy can reinforce from every angle. That it's a fool's errand. You want to get into the actual zones. You want to get to the points, and you don't want to let yourself be contained at an area that doesn't gain you anything game points wise. And so far, looking at the KDA deployment, KDA is thinking exactly the same as the Berliners, in which they are not investing at all into the potential grind fight, only sending, even sending the Aufklärer, not even sending it to the high-rise towers. KDA going with 50 cal and recon heavy opener to the Foxtrot Echo area, and will likely be able to gain Foxtrot, considering the defenses there are relatively light, only 2 infantry units and a Fox.
Yeah, double Mi-24P opener also will force the units to stop until the TRM 2000s have arrived. Those trucks can push the Mi-24P back if they are microed correctly, though with the call, the Mi-24P outranges them, or the first PSSEB here in the south of Stahlbrecher in danger, goes down. Mi-24 already getting what it wants to get done there. The other one pushed back by the Foxes, but got a bit of damage there in as well. And yeah, Foxtrot will fall here. The Foxes in the south have to be careful as well. Mi-24P coming around for it as well, but it gets potentially on target there. No, it disengages now. TRM 2000 under fire by the ATGM though, and that is a problem. Grenadier Voltigier going down. TRM 2000 trying to get closer here with its AA range. Whilst we see, yeah, not much action in the north. Echo is the most contested point right now by both sides, and the south is in trouble here for Stahlbrecher.
Yeah, the SPW-40s will be able to kill everything here with the large machine guns. Their stealth is good enough for them to lurk into places, and the optics are very good, and the speed is amazing. So these SPWs will be able to go basically anywhere here, and it's going to be a difficult for something like Berlin Command to deal with them. If you had helicopters, maybe helicopters could do that, but no way were they going to allow helicopters into West Berlin.
Yeah, you only also don't have really the fighters to protect yourself against MiG-21 BIS too easily. So that is another issue. All the bombers that KDA can bring, you only can hit them retaliatorily with the Stingers and the Mistrals, basically. You can't really kill them on the way in efficiently. So you can't really give them any target that is worth bombing in the early game, meaning that your Chieftains and your M1A1s are kind of not worth bringing because any of those just will get bombed into smithereens. And that is a big issue here as well.
So the Berlin light rifles getting in range and almost hitting one of the SPWs before they move out. Oh no, actually managing to get one on the way out. The recoilless rifle, having been replaced by the Dragons on regular service, is still held by the units that the token force that they had in West Berlin. But in this game, the recoilless rifles are actually really good because you can use them against infantry. So having a bunch of these RCL marked Berlin light rifles can be a really good value because they can just provide that little bit extra that you need to take down enemy infantry squads. But on the other hand, they can also waste all of their ammo on infantry and be defenseless against the armored vehicles.
And Stahl also winning some important victories here in the north. Plenty of voltages clearing up the way towards Zulu, so that can be captured. Echo gets one as well, so it's kind of a trade-off here right now. North versus south. SPW of Titan going really deep into the center right now. Oh, that will be so good there, seeing all the reinforcements, and chances that it gets spotted there are rather slim in the deep forest. And that is such a good idea there. Using the absolute wild opener here, the chaos on the battlefield, to sneak that by and get it in there. I don't believe Stahlbrecher knows about it, and it gives you so much intel on all the reinforcement roads into the center and the south.
Yeah, if you get a breakthrough, one of the best ways to do that to exploit breakthroughs is to send fast-moving units into random corners, especially if they happen to have either ATGMs or recon capacity. Those things are going to be such a force multiplier in the long term, and even if they don't manage to get a lot of kills, the information and the fact that your enemy now has to deal with them and start cleaning up their backline. That's a big bonus, especially in the kind of tight, micro-intensive fights of the mid game.
Yeah, Mi-24P here still wreaking havoc in the south. No AA weapons here really able to deal with them. You can't send your planes really against them either, with the Books around and the fighters being superior to the best fighters you got with Harriers. And we see some more helicopters here dying on the side of Stahlbrecher. MiG-21 bombers coming in, and there are too few manpads here. There is too little AA. These MiG-21s can do that without retaliation, and that means they will be back here in no time. And you need more Stingers at this point here as Stahlbrecher, otherwise you just will get bombed into smithereens. You need to tax those MiG-21s, kill some of them, otherwise they will just endlessly bomb you time and time again and destroy everything you got.
Yeah, the resources went into break Chitran from exploiting the breakthrough too much, having the Hellarm and the Gazelle rockets there, the few helicopters that Berlin Command actually gets. Now with the Humvee tow, more infantry units to hold these positions, even though they will secure the area against further breakthroughs, these breakthroughs need to be protected against, because otherwise the enemy might even get to fire at your spawn. But yeah, you're right about the MiG-21s. The more you get them, the more difficult it gets to build up any kind of air defense. Let's say, and right now the enemy might have 2 of those planes, but what happens when they have 4? If they have 4, they can just target 4 of your man pads, and they will likely survive this, or at least take out your man pads. You need the AA arms race. You can't lose it against something like something like KDA, because in the late game,
Rapier
KDA is
FSA now out. I'm surprised that Charles even tries to still contest the south. He doesn't have the combined arms there, and he loses more units again. AMX 30s. I like the retreat here with the P4 and so on. It should have gone further, and the focus should be on the north right now. Maybe even going to Alpha. Like, Alpha is not that much out of grasp right now, but you need to be consolidated against the potential air spam of KDA. You need to have your units under the AA umbrella and pushing together. Otherwise, those Hinds and those bombers just gonna pick you apart. And Chai-chan really playing the agile, quick playstyle here pretty decently so far. Getting the tick in this stopped in the south now with the capture of the UATs, but Stahl still fully in this with the full capture of the north. Just has to be careful to not lose too much here in the south.
Yeah, the second plane of the KDA outside of the MiG-21 bomber, the MiG-27 AT plane coming out and taking out one of those French tanks, and going home free, not even getting a retaliatory stinger shot. Though, hold on. No, the MiG-27 is outside of the range, and having these MiG-27s and the MiG-21s together in the late game, they can just it can become overwhelming. Nowadays, Berlin Command, after the most recent patches, they were assigned a single ahistorical heavy anti-air piece in the form of the Rapier FSA. The Rapier FSA is a transportable, less than 100 points, costing a short range or kind of a medium range anti-air missile system, and it will be vulnerable to be taken out by artillery. And artillery, speaking of which, with KDA is really good. The 2 S7M Malka, the heaviest Soviet artillery gun, already started firing and killing a Stinger, likely will be used to target all anti-air units of Stahlbrecher as long as the game goes on. Oh no, the P4 PC is going to be taken out by the exploiting SPW-40 recon car. Oh no, this is tragic.
Yeah, Chai-chan getting even more value there, capturing the P4, going by. Gazelle rockets right now being microed into the south, but there is AA there as well. And the combined arms of Stahl not strong enough to hold the south easily here right now. Vito could be good against the T-54. Yeah, gets the kill there. But Stahl just needs to fight a retreat battle down there whilst focusing on the north. But that's not what's happening. There's too little AA still up here in the north. Stingers and Rapier FSAs are all nice, but they're too low in numbers. No Mistrals around. Reinforcements get killed off as well. Stahl is stretched really thin here right now, and the taxation that Chai-chan puts on that is really high.
Helicopters, the Gazelle rockets.
All the Gazelles flying, they can't deal with it. They don't have any ammo, and the SPW just keeps on killing stuff here in the rear.
If they had like a single extra rocket, they might have been able to kill it. Oh, that is the value of fast and cheap recon units, and knowing when you have broken through the lines and taking these positions. They theoretically might be easy to take out, but in practice they're disgusting. They're horrible. The Zagradotriad are going to engage the Vito here. Chai-chan really making sure that their engagements are taken are preferential. The usage of the artillery, the usage of the 50 caliber machine guns, the usage of the KDA Schutzen to be first to go over the top, supported by the T-62s. Chai-chan is really using the resources of the KDA into to the limits here, recognizing the weaknesses of Berlin Command, which is absolutely the anti-air and air tab, and using the strengths of the KDA, which is the artillery, the large amount of cheap stuff that you can flood the board with, and the cheap planes. These you can probably note that the best thing that Berlin Command does, which is these close range urban infantry fights, they haven't happened yet because Chai-Chan understands that those fights are going to be less preferential for them.
Yeah, Chai-Chan now getting the KDA KDA Führer in here and getting the point captured. And it has been a long while since Chai-Chan lost the important unit. The T-54 in the south, that was annoying, but on the other side, they have killed so much here. The MX-30 is pushed back, the M1IP is still there, so and the Chieftain is around now as well, so there is some room here maybe for Stahl if those units can be kept alive, but the MiG-27 AT is already coming in. Smoke needs to come out immediately. Rapier FSA actually getting killed by the MiG-27s here, and so does the M1IP. That's what I was talking about early on. You need to have the AA network to stop that, and if you don't get that up, KDA just gonna bully you into the ground, and Stahl just spread out way too thinly on this map here with this setup, and it gets completely crumbled right now. The front line is falling apart, and yes, there are still a couple of tanks, but it's only 3-4 air sorties away from not being the case anymore, and then Chai-Chan just can move forward.
Yeah, playing against the KDA, you think, well, you know what? I'm just gonna build a small or medium-sized force of good high-tech units, and then I'm gonna send them forward. And every time you start building up that force, the KDA keeps on artillerying them, keeps on sending AT planes against them. And then when you finally meet the enemy will be able to grind you down until they can call in the artillery and the airplanes the next time. This is the platonic ideal of the KDA is that it keeps losing the kind of troops that it can afford to lose, and it keeps engaging with the kind of stuff that it cannot afford to lose, namely the Malkas and the AT planes. But of course, on the other hand, if you overinvest into anti-air, the KDA can just counter invest into ground troops. And I think the early usage of these Mi-24Ps, the heavy gunships, should have been a signal to Stahlbrecher to start investing into more anti-air early. But I guess they were too afraid of getting baited into the anti-air overinvestment, and now have been baited into the anti-air snowball, in which you use air units to target anti-air, and then when your enemy fires anti-air, you use the Malkas to revenge fire, and you keep this going all throughout the game. It is infuriating to play against. I hate playing against KDA personally.
Yeah, MiG-27 AT coming around here once more, getting shot, but Tornadoes coming, MiG-21's coming around as well. Mistral's getting bombed. Rapier not able to find the kill there. MiG-21 getting out alive as well. There is just too little AA here. The AA investment from Stahl from the get-go was too little and too spread out. You want to have one specific part on the map as Berliner. The rest you kind of want to have with a couple of units covered, some Humvee toes or so to block the enemy from moving there, but in this matchup you need to be under your Stinger umbrella. You don't have long range AA, so it is a pretty small umbrella, so you have to have a pretty small area to fight over, otherwise this punishment that Chai-Chan is giving here right now just gonna happen every single time. And yeah, Chai-Chan is doing it really perfectly. Really great KDA play here, punishing the weaknesses of Berliner Command perfectly, and they are in big trouble here right now.
Yeah, the ability for Chai-Chan to engage well with all of these units that are completely replaceable, compared to Stahlbrecher constantly having to keep buying the anti-air, keep buying the tanks, and to stem the tide of the expendable unit attacks. And meanwhile, of course, every time that the engagement happens, Stahlbrecher will immediately face the ever-growing flock of KDA aircraft. Now an attack happening down south, actually, with the 50 caliber machine guns moving up to spot a Mistral and a Grenadier Voltigeur. And this attack is not achieving anything tactically. There are no points to be gained here. But strategically, this will force Stahlbrecher to start sending units down south to prevent the breakthrough into the spawn, which will, again, give good situations for Chai-Chan to kill those units with aircraft.
Stinger and Grenadier Voltigeurs coming around. MiG-27, AT moving in as well. Malka aiming onto the Grenadier Voltigeurs. And yeah, the kills on Stahlbrecher's units without Stahlbrecher killing any important units on the other side just continue here. Chai-Chan picking it apart, losing a couple of KDA Schützen or so, maybe a couple of ATGM vehicles, maybe one plane here and there, but the Mi-24s stay alive, the artillery stays alive, most of the planes stay alive, and the tanks of Stahlbrechers, they don't. And the AA doesn't anymore either. The Mistral's getting killed off, and that's just not a way you can win. And there's kind of no way out of this hole anymore. So we see Stahl still trying to push on here into the rear zone, but that's just not gonna work out. Like, there's gonna be more planes, and there are only 3 AA units here. There is a Mistral now here as well. Another Stinger coming up. Stahl trying to rectify the mistakes made earlier, but that's coming in 10-15 minutes too late here right now, and that is the issue right now, as they are already behind in points, they are behind in positions, and the enemy has so much time, so many resources now to deal with the AA that comes up and take it apart bit by bit, and then just clean up the rest.
Yeah, the Chai-Chan really showing us showing us the masterclass of picking your engagements and engaging with all of your units in a way that is preferential to you. Having the KDA Aufklärers all around the map gives the KDA Aufklärer is 20 points and it's 6 HP. And even though it's a reserve unit, it has exceptional strength and very good stealth and very good optics. This means that these 20-point units can just give a slow and steady and very reliable recon coverage all around the map. Behind them stand large amounts of Conqueror's missiles, which counter to the point of KDA. Conquerors are the modern missiles, they're the good ones with 20 pen. They come both in the SPW-40s as well as on foot, and those Conquerors are generally supported by these NSV 50 caliber machine guns. With these cheap and slow-moving units, you can build up strong front lines, which, in case of an enemy attack, can be supported by the artillery and the airplanes and the helicopters. This is a very smart way of using the availability of KDA's units, and because when it comes to attacking, the KDA Schützen with the 14-man squads can just go out there and do force recon, so to speak. They can walk into the enemy and spot it for the rest of the division.
Yeah, Conquerors and T-72s here keep on picking apart Grenadier Voltigeurs under pressure. Chieftains getting attacked. The MiG-27s coming in once more, all getting out alive. And it's just such a big issue here. The MiG-27's such a good pick, and there we go. The GG gets called as Stahl.
This is a tragedy. This
lost
is
this game a long time ago. 3-1 KD here.
Maximum scale.
There were some really good engagements in the early game by Stahl, but they just didn't get the right reinforcements in at the right time, and they took some fights on the positions on the map where they just couldn't take a fight at all, and that steamrolled here quite quickly as Chai-Chan took all of those early engagements perfectly, and then they had the perfect combined arms, while Stahl didn't, and that got Chai-Chan here a pretty clean KDA victory. KDA masterclass, I would say.
In the early game, I'd say that there were some situations in which, like, a mad dash to the back point of the KDA could have allowed Stahl to gain some momentum there, but holding that back point against the enemy air superiority and the enemy artillery with your strong but still limited tank tab would have. I don't think it would have turned the tide of the game. The big difference, the only way for this to have gone differently would have been with a very heavy investment into air. And if the air investment, let's say that the heavy investment into AA happens, and then Chai-chan realizes this and just doesn't buy any more planes, then we would be calling this an overinvestment into air. And this overinvestment would have probably be punished with some other way. And do tell me if I'm not correct, because these things have changed a lot, but KDA does have grads, right? So even the fortifying areas, urban areas with large amounts of stingers early on could have been punished with an early grad buy.
They don't have a CRUD, but they have multiple rocket launchers. So they can shoot on that, yeah. They can deal with that to some extent. That's why you can't spread them all over the map. You can't invest into AA everywhere, but you can invest into AA with your strongest positions. And that's where you need to focus on in a matchup like this. When you can't get air superiority with fighters, when you can't get a big umbrella with long-range AA, you have to, against a deck that has so many cheap ground attackers, you have to focus more down. It's airport, it's a tough map for that, but it is doable here as well. And Star was not even that far away from it. Like, they were close to the rear point. They just didn't have the AA around to do so.
Yeah, but leaving this horrible KDA fest behind us and going into the second game, which will once again be on Hesse.
So, yeah, short break, guys. Then we're going to be back with map number 2 here between Chai-chan and Stahl. And yeah, don't you run away.
There's nothing wrong with you, lady. Come along, my baby. There's everything about you so good. Tell me who I am without you. Girl, I'm in love, no lie. Girl, never tell me bye-bye. You know I'm a stand-up guy. I'ma give you all my love, all my love. You shine, you bright, you right, just face it. You are my light. You shine, you bright, you right, just face it. Hey, young, hey, young. Hey, young, hey, young, hey, young. Hey, young, hey, young. Hey, young, hey, young, hey, young. Hey, young, hey, young. Hey, young, hey, young. Hey, young, hey, young. Hey, young, hey, young, hey, young.
And here we go. Game number 2. Chai-chan up 1-0. And Chai-chan stays with the KDA. But out of Stahlbrecher, we see the OG Stahlbrecher division. Not the one that we have seen the most out of Stahl lately, but the most that we have seen the most out of Stahl over the last few months and years, with 5th Panzer coming in here on Hesse once more. So we're gonna see if we have a similar experience of tanks just ruling the open and winning, or if the infantry division this time around can whittle them down here with using the big terrain, using some defensive tools, maybe using a lot of air again. Though this time around with Rolands, there is better air defense against that.
Yeah, can I just say, hell yeah, I want to see KDA done with. I hate KDA. I understand that it's a bad division, but I just hate it. I hate playing against it. I am looking forward to Stahlbrecher using maybe the most powerful against cheaper divisions, armored division currently. 5e, I believe Woe Is Me has mastered playing 5e to the top of the ladder even. 5e, not 5e, the 5th Panzer. 5th Panzer has the ability to bring out modern NBTs way earlier than other divisions with modern NBTs. They don't have to contest against M1A1 Abrams or T-80s. They can just contest the T-62s and the Conqueror's missiles mostly. With their good speed, they'll be able to counter the Conquerors, and when it comes to dealing with large fortified infantry units, the Leopard 1s can be bought cheap enough to break through these lines. I am very excited to this. I am completely biased on Stahlbrecher's side, and I'm looking forward to see how they're going to deal with this. So far, looking at the engagements, we're seeing some the light infantry investment going to the urban area from both sides, heavier from Chai-chan, but even Chai-chan's units are deploying pretty defensively. The offensive will happen likely in the middle, in between Lima, Echo, Zulu, and X-Ray, which will likely be also the best area for Stahlbrecher to start engaging the undercover of these large Jaeger Aufklärer squads, and opposed by Chai-chan's large investment into Pak Rapiras, the AT guns that can fire these very long-range Bastion missiles, as well as the Conquerors, which are the regular modern Soviet ATGMs. What do you think about the? I mean, of course, the air will play a large part here, and we're seeing Stahlbrecher only invest into 2 Gepards. But 5th Panzer, even though they were nerfed, does have a large amount of fighter planes planes that are even quite kind of expendable, so you can send them even against the very powerful anti-air defenses of the KDA.
Yeah, but they are only short-range missiles, so that is the issue there. You can't shoot them down before they hit you. You can shoot them down afterwards, but if you want to shoot them down before they hit you, or have a chance at that at least, you want to have the Roland 3s online. But there's a good seed plane on the other side, so microing that will be important, just like with the Gepards. They are radar guided as well, so they need to be microed against the seed too, if that comes around. And yeah, I think the biggest part will be how well Chai-chan can use the ATGM variants that you get as KDA. You get the Rapira, you get the T-62M with the Bastion, you get some SPWs with Conquerors. And if they can pick apart a couple of Leos from the side, as they side-shot even the Leo 2A3s, one-shot the Conquerors, and the Bastions do fantastic damage, you can do some trouble here. And that is the big question. How well is Stahlbrecher able to deal with all those ETGMs, and if Chai-chan can stop that armored push through the center, and then maybe counterattack in the north, maybe counterattack into Lima through the town. Like, those are the ways to get in here. We will see how this map starts. Sometimes we see really early aggression, sometimes we see a really long grind game that only comes down to the last couple of seconds. It's going to be interesting to see what the players' decisions will be in this one.
Yeah, the Chai-chan will be trying to contest the the middle forest areas, which are pretty crucial to hold if you're gonna try to move tanks around here. But Stahlbrecher does have all of their tanks on the northern side. Oh, not all of them, all but one of them on the northern side of the forest. So now, if this Conqueror's missile and the T-62 don't won't be if they won't be able to kill these cheaper tanks immediately, the damage that these Leopard 1s will are able to do here will be pretty big. The Pioneers and the Pioneer Armbrust on the West German side are 0 vet, so they won't be that capable in fighting against these East German vetted up units. They're vet 1, plus they have the Resolute trait, as all East Germans do, because they are just stronger people in general, wouldn't you say so, Protoss? But with the Leopard 1 fire support, they will be able to break through these the East Germans, I believe.
Yeah, Leo 1A1 slowly pushing forward. Fernspeer giving them good vision here. Conquerors will have some issues there. If the Leos get on target, they do, and they get some damage done coming around. But the Rapira is there as well. T-62 currently repairing, so the Conquerors get picked off there. All Leos still alive. Going pretty well here so far for Stahl. The Pioneers might want to follow up, help out the Pioneer Armbrust there a bit, as we have Pioneers and Motschützen on the other side doing a decent job so far. But the Rapiras and the T-62s pushed back here already. Meanwhile, we have an interesting counter push by Chaichan in the south with KDA and Motschützen, as we see more Leo 1A1s rolling in.
Did you notice what's in the southeastern corner?
Ooh. It's the time for the Smirchy. Yeah, this is the unit that you want to see here from KDA in this matchup. You have to be so careful with 5th Panzer against this. And yeah,
it's an incredibly powerful cluster launching rocket missile, which has to be in the corner here because it has such a big minimum range that it can't fire unless it's so far away from all enemies.
Yeah, setting up here for some nice kills. Fires the first rockets now. Gepard did not move, and Gepard will get deleted quickly here. There we go. First 2 missiles get the job done. And that is keeping any armor now from plopping. Leo 1A1s and Gepards, it's frustrating to lose them against it. It's not the end of the world. It will need a couple of salvos there to really pay off against them. But
ooh, the Iltis Führung getting taken out by a Fagot missile there while under fire of the Aufklärer. That's a bad little mistake coming from Stahlbrecher, though the echo point has still not been taken by Chaichan, so the +1 does hold, and Stahlbrecher's infantry is getting into the urban office space area or the industrial area here, which means that the nearby KDA Führer is not cannot move to the zone right now.
Ooh, Mi-24P gets stunned. It's moving away. It luckily got that input last second, so it gets out of range. Gepard under fire by more cluster ammo here, and it gets picked off as well. The Smirch with the right spot there, getting another good kill. Getting a kill onto the Fernspeer even, as it has not the biggest HE, but it has enough HE to do some damage with some direct hits. And yeah, getting the kill there, leaving the Leo 1A1 stranded ahead of it, because we have the double Mi-24P against that Chaichan used so well last game. With the fast cocons now, with the buffs, the speed buff to those are pretty strong if you micro them correctly, and Chaichan is moving them nicely so far.
Yeah, so the infantry leader for Chaichan actually deployed here to up-vet these infantry units, which might be crucial. The West German, the KDA, of course, KDA units don't get the Resolute trait, but the standard Pioneers and Motschützen do. So these are now vet 2 units with the Resolute trait, which basically gives them the stress resistance of elite units. And considering that the West German infantry isn't that great. When it comes to town fights and when it comes to units, especially engaging each other fortified on long range, the veterancy and the stress starts mattering a lot. On close range, of course, their accuracy is going to be close to 100 every time because they're close. But if these infantry units are fighting on longer ranges, the accuracy difference will start snowballing and creating a big a big difference in the real damage done. Not to mention the fact that on low cohesion, these units are going to have basically garbage tier accuracy anyway. And so Stahlbrecher needs to keep up the tank force and the mechanized force to do fire support. Otherwise, the small amount of East Germans might actually beat this infantry pushback.
Yeah, F4F here in a big air battle right now. Did get a kill onto the MiG-24. Doesn't get a kill here against the MiG-21. Has to be careful over the enemy spawn with an OSA on its tail already. OSA gets one hit in. F4F pushed out. Question is, will there be something else chasing it down in a second? Any more air-to-air planes coming in here? No, it gets out alive. So F4F doing its job. But the MiG-21 bomber in the north was frustrating there for Stahl. And yeah, Stahl still on the +1. That is good enough. Has the 200 points. Could play defensive now for the rest of the game. But you still want to stay agile. Otherwise the Smirch will get you.
Yeah, the Smirch actually reloading managed to fire all of his 12 massive cluster rockets. The reload will be ready probably around the same time as Chai-Chan's forces get into the X-ray point, which is the southwesternmost point for Stahlbrecher. These Leopard 1s and Jaguar 2s being here to do defensive work is pretty smart. Leopards will be able to fire at the infantry, and the Jaguars will be able to peek and destroy any tanks or vehicles on longer range. But Chai-Chan is building a pretty smart concave around this, so any engagements, especially with the Smirch, will still likely go to Chai-Chan's favor in the end. It all depends on how well Stahlbrecher's attacks are going to succeed. Because if Stahlbrecher's attacks get blunted, Chai-Chan will be free to keep buying reinforcements to this X-ray push, which I think will be a
important kill on the KDA leader that was on the way trying to move into Echo. So the +1 does stay up here. It's not a big tick, but it got Stahl a decent amount of points by now. And new CV has been bought. And yeah, those 200 points, we have seen them winning games before on this map. So Stahl is a bit in the lead in that regard, but Stahl needs to keep the traits equal as well. And with this merge now aiming again, coming up against Moleos, that could change quickly.
Yeah,
It's smarter. Okay, that whiffs. This merge currently not on target. I'm pretty sure it is not on immediate fire though. I would expect it to be on hold fire there. No, it's actually on immediate fire. Okay, that salvo will miss. At least a couple of shots that will go out. I believe it won't fire a full salvo. You usually want to spread it out. Yeah, 6 rockets going in there. They don't hit anything. That's good news for Stahl. That's 90 seconds of reload time on that Smirch wasted and a decent amount of ammo. But Stahl still needs to hold the southern push here now, and that is coming for real now. Conquerors, T-62s pushing forward. Leo's 1A1s and 1A5s moving around, but the T-62 is a pretty equal tank in those matchups. Gets the kill onto the Leo 1A5 and the 1A1 right now, and that is an issue here for Stahl. Leo 1A1 actually even getting outclassed by the T-62M.
Yeah, and also Stahl really is kind of lacking on the long-range anti-air department. I don't know if they happen to have any fighters around, but the Gepards alone won't be able to destroy these MiG-21s. So by the time when the infantry engagements start happening, the large 11-man Jaeger squads, for instance, taking out just one of those things, which is going to happen right about now, can absolutely blunt the attack of Stahlbrecher. Stahlbrecher's forces are fighting all around the front, so taking out crucial large infantry units will make it so that the pushers are going to have to wait for even more reinforcements. The 5-man Panzer Grenadiers can't really do attacking operations on their own.
Yeah, Mochitz and Zagorodia, they're moving around. Leo 1A1 slowly pushing forward, trying to get some damage done. Jaguar 2 sitting around itself. Leo 1A1 there pushed back. Whilst Digger Panzerfaust trying to move in. Not able to get the kill there though. And yeah, those MiG-21s really frustrating now in the north. And the Leo the MiG-21s really helping out. The Leo 1A1s getting outclassed by the T-62. A couple too many lost of them lately. And yet the T-62s are all still there. Really well combined with the Conqueror's SPWs as an absolute killing force. And so many Leos biting the dust here. You don't want to risk the Leo 2A3s too easily, but you need some of them around to just outclass those T-62s and force them back. Otherwise, the Leo 1A1s just get picked off, and that's exactly what happens here right now.
Yeah, here we're seeing that the KDA Schutzen are on when they are in defensive positions and engaging the enemy that is trying to cross the open fields. The 14-man squads can do a lot of damage. And there's just up north here that there just isn't enough mech to break through these squads yet. And so reinforcements for Chaichan will likely be there. And meanwhile, Chaichan's forces are kind of tentatively getting into the Lima point, even though they will likely be taken out here. This information that Chaichan is trying to push this requires the Stahl is buying 3 squads of infantry, large squads, to block this middle attack here. And this is the way that even though Chaichan is currently down by 400 points, the positions all around here kind of make it look like Stahlbrecher might be spending too many of his units in these offensive operations, because more and more these engagements, the DDR guys just have the superiority, and having this. There is, for instance, there's an Mi-24 peak going up north here, and the Roland is not in a position to start firing at it, so the helicopter might just get a bunch of free kills here.
Yes, and once more, it's coming also a good bit down to not being able to stop the enemy air. Smirch, obviously deadly against the Gepards, but also no Rolands and so on around earlier. Yes, you want to keep them out of the Smirch's side. You need to keep them moving, but another Smirch salvo coming in now gets the Roland. Potentially might get the Gepard as well. That would be absolute disaster. But the Roland kill already is massive. We have nearly no tanks left here for Stahl. Getting some Leo 2A3s in now right now. Getting an Iltis leader here on a bit of a sneaky action towards Echo to maybe try to get a couple more points, but the question is, can their defensive line even hold at this point, because all the important vehicles just get picked off, and the German infantry, it's pretty tanky against other infantry, but it's not the strongest when it has to deal with vehicles.
Oh no, and then what actually took that out? I believe
the MPLB killed out the Iltis leader.
Yeah, Fagot actually managed to take out the Iltis here. So far I think the Stahlbrecher's attack up north was a complete waste. It was all this time there has been a KDA outclarer that Chaichan microed out and they microed back in. It's in the church tower up north, so it has given perfect vision for Chaichan about what's coming. This meant that Chaichan has been able to both use the aircraft in taking out this attack, but also not overinvest into the defense, meaning that the attack in the middle has been able to gain all the forces that are necessary.
Yeah, Leo 2A3 trying to move around. SU-22 cluster coming up. We still have the flank here from Chaichan as well. Another reload for the Smirch needed with the another Ural, so a bit of more time here till the reload starts to come around. T-62 finally going down. Jaguar is a nice beast. Leo 2A3 and 2A4 at least still alive. There is a S-22 cluster coming around, but it's not able to make it in right now. But yeah, all the Leo ones outside of 1A1 in the south are down, and that's not what you want to end up, like, yeah, just a bit too spread out. They're all relatively soft armors, and they're all really flimsy, so if you spread out too thin, you can't just micro them all over the board, and then they just get picked off by those Conquerors, by those ATGMs long range, by a single infantry unit that somehow gets a sneak on you, and then it falls apart. Like, when I play 5th, I really feel like you kind of need to clump and plop, how the when you want to go with that jargon of how people call it, because otherwise, if you don't concentrate your forces, they just get picked apart on the flanks, and you just need to have the micro, you need to have the smoke micro, you need to move the units around constantly, otherwise they just will get killed off, and that's exactly what happened to Stahl's Leos all around the board.
Yeah, the Leo 2 getting out here, but the Leo 2 is going to move into a position with the 1-2 recon units directly looking at it when it's gets into the board. It's surrounded by a covert stealthy ATGMs, both in the matter of the cars and the buildings, but and then, of course, as long as the recon can spot it, it can't really move out in case the enemy might have a bomber out. And even the MiG-21s, the AG bombers can, with a good hit, they can do crucial damage and stress the tank so much that it's gonna have to run. And a second Smirch coming out, launching at the Roland 3. This tragic for me as a KDA hater. Maybe even taking out the second Roland, though not quite.
Yeah, you need to have all of those vehicles immediately moving. You need to have the micro there to immediately move AA after it fired in this matchup, and focus on what can win you the game. I feel like Stahl's game plan was up against classic divisions. This is not your classic division on the other side, though, and yeah, just falls short against all those annoying roadblocks of KDAs, and then those sneaky decent tank plus a lot of AT plus Smirch combos that just pick you apart, open up your front for air spam, and then you just die to that.
Yeah, but let's not I mean, this is still Stahlbrecher is still leading 400 points, and even though the Smirches pose a massive threat, and even though the kill counts have been going solidly for Chai-chan's favor, this doesn't mean that 5th can't actually fight in the late game. It is an armored division, so it does have deep pockets filled with fast and effective tanks, and as long as these tanks can get on board and can work under a suitable amount of recon and air defense, Stahlbrecher might be able to micro themselves a victory here. Though, the Leopard turning its fast chassis to face the Bastion missile and taking a shot against the T-62 here. The speed of tanks is very important, because in practice, speed means survivability. It means the ability to get to turn towards the ATGMs and not to get sideshot, not to get stunned down by weaker enemies.
Yeah,
or stronger.
We have the CV now in here. We still have MiG-27s in the sky. Smirch trying to kill the Roland, not getting there just yet. Marder 1A2 moving around in the south. Another Leo 1A5 coming in there as well. A lot more Leos just roaming around the battlefield. MiG-27s with AT coming in to kill the Rolands now. Just killing off the air defense completely. One does survive. The MiG-27s both survive though. Roland not getting the shot out there in the end. SU-22 cluster coming in to finish the job. As KDA had just all the time in the world to set up that air spam here now. It's going for the Roland 2A4 instead. Not quite getting the kill there. Gepard's stressing it out sufficiently enough, but the Roland is pretty stressed out as well. Doesn't want to get smirched, so it keeps on moving. And so the SU-22 cluster gets out alive as well. And that is a big problem here. We see Stahl getting into position to try to get back the point. Leo 1A5s and 2A3s still around here. We have only T-54s right now on the other side. Those can't win tank fights. They are basically IFVs with a bit more frontal armor. And not really tanks. And yeah, there we go. They go down as well. Jägers moving around. The capture of the point happens again for Stahl, as Taichan moves around on the rest of the map slowly as well, though.
Yeah, the rest of the map is really the crucial point here, because even though Stahl has managed to start doing 5th Panzer things with the Leopard 2s and the Rolands, moving them around here, and even imperfectly, but still, well, the MiG-21 comes and finishes off the Leopard 2. Yeah, even though this imperfect but still powerful defense has managed to exploit the fact that the West Germans just have better units here, the rest of the map is really where the problem lies. If Zhejiang figures out that this defense is if Zhejiang loses the air power and loses the capacity to attack here, I do think that they'll be able to defend with ATGMs against this blob and keep on attacking with the forces that they have on the rest of the map. The ability to keep good and functional and very well available infantry going in town fights is what the KDA does best.
Yeah, Smirch's reloading here, constantly firing now onto the south. Leos get picked apart. The SPW-40 Conquerors is the hidden MVP of this game, shooting so many units here by now. I believe at least 4 Leos killed off by these SPWs by now. That's not a number that you usually see. And yeah, Taichan really making them work, using them really nicely here on the flank. And they got a stealth button lately, which really helped these vehicles, but still Stahl letting a bit too much die here against them, and that really destroyed the combined arms in the south and stopped the offensive potential, plus allowed Taichan to invest elsewhere and push the rest of the map now as well. We have still a couple of Leos, but the AA is not good enough to consistently shoot down enemy planes. The tanks are low in numbers here now as well, and
Zhejiang can see the Leopard 2. Zhejiang can see the Leopard 2 with this SPW-40 down in southeast of the Leopard. That is horrible, and I'm sure.
Yeah, Smirch already coming in here.
Yeah.
Missiles so far not landing on target. The speed of the Leo 2 might save it. Ooh, good reaction there from Stahl. This merge off target, but MiG-27's 3 MiG-27 ATs coming in. So the days of the Leo 2A4 most likely still not going to continue here. Makes it into the forest. Roland gets one hit against the MiG-27, pushes it back. Smirch on to the Leo 2A4 once more from the other side, as we have a lot of smoke here again. 16 minutes remaining, 300 points difference. The F4F flying above it all. Marder going down. The Marder is trying to help out here against the KDA Schützen as well, whilst a lot of smoke comes onto the battlefield. F4F rocket not really doing the job, loitering around a bit too much and getting shut down here once more.
Yeah, the infantry fights are what I'm really concerned about here. Stahl used a lot of their infantry units in the earlier game, and if you look at the map from far away, any kind of fights against KDA infantry need to be done very well and with a lot of fire support, because otherwise they will just march forward and not get stopped. The fact that Stahl is buying like Jaeger Aufklärers here might speak of the fact that there really isn't that much left in the armored division's weaker infantry tab, especially when these infantry, most of them were Vet 1, which does limit their availability.
Yeah, we have the Roland 3 still trying to get some shots off, but it's too little AA here at this point. And yeah, the F4F mix just being caught into the enemy AA a bit too easily there. The AA by now good enough here for Zhejiang to shoot them down every time they come up. The Leo 2A4 once more under fire by the Smirch. It's man-cut resupply trucks getting killed. The Leo does survive once more, but the Conquerors is still around. There's not enough recon here around to spot that. So it might even kill the Leo 2A4 here with a side shot now. ATGM coming in. Leo turns around to face it frontally, but still super combat inefficient, pushed back here, and KDA doing a decent job here. Reservisten, the leader, getting in, getting the +3 online, and the tick here is going to get Shaichan in the lead pretty soon.
Yeah, so Pioneers and Pioneer Armbrusts are still coming into the middle here, so some amount of depth is here for the West Germans, but the forces of KDA are moving to the top point of Alpha, which is currently defended by a single Martyr 2 with a single Panzergrenadier unit, and there needs to be something bought to North now and not a couple of minutes later. Otherwise, Stahl will lose that point. But Stahl also needs to get the middle point here and needs to hold the breach, because otherwise the tick is going to take the game anyways.
Yeah, we see Shaichan now on a +2. That will give Stahl 2 minutes or so to at least keep it at a draw. Shaichan already in draw territory now, so victory for Stahl would mean he needs to get some capture points on the other side of the map, which I don't see happening. But Stahl somehow needs to get into X-Ray here, and that is also pretty unlikely at this point. Got the ATGM vehicle now in the south, has a couple of Leos still around, all of them damaged, 2 of them pretty heavily stressed as well. Oh no, one gets killed off by the T-62M with a side shot of the Bastion. And yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those ATGMs of KDA, so scary because of that. And Gephardt gets killed off. Roland trying to get the kill onto the MiG-27 M gets it this time around, but the game is over nonetheless, and Shaichan gets the 2-0 victory here with really clean KDA games in both games here, and a really insane KD here in the end as well.
Yeah, the early smurge was really the big deal. We can't, of course, count or measure the effect of like mental gameplay, the demands that some units or some strategies take from players. But I'm willing to say that most likely the early smurge play made it so that Stahl had to completely think differently and constantly be on the guard to move their units. And Shaichan built like really good concaves. Shaichan used the units that can engage on long range and using them in tandem with their very cheap recon, as well as the force recon offered by the 14-man KDA squads. And then when it came time to attack, the recon units could easily kill these heavy tanks by pointing them out to the AT planes and the MiGs. This is, as a combination, was a very good way to make it so that the 5th Panzer's signature Panzerblob never started happening. There was never enough tanks on board to just right-click forwards. There was never a good enough combination of mech units. And when it came to infantry fights, the infantry was never good enough for the West Germans to push on its own, so the lack of the tanks and losing of the tanks made it so that the infantry that was bought in those attacks generally went to waste. And by the late game, we saw that the KDA, no matter how well the KDA would have traded, they would have still had, or how badly they would have traded, they would have still had the superiority when it comes to spanning infantry. And I do understand that Stahl wanted to close the game up early with the backline push, but without the proper air defense, the urban pushes were a huge waste, which likely cost him the game.
Yeah, and we saw a classic Hesse mistake in that ice in my eyes. Like, you can't finish a game in Hesse early if you don't, like, if you win the starter outright completely, like we saw in the earlier series, then you can do it, but you can't force it that way. And Shaichan didn't allow that to happen, and then Stahl tried to force it through anyways, and that just can't happen. You need to play it slower at that stage, and Stahl tried to attack everywhere and ran into a brick wall everywhere, and just zero losses at that phase of the game for Chai-Chan, meaning that Chai-Chan could buy any unit they wanted and just slowly but surely go back onto the other side and kill everything. And that is really something that, yeah, on Hesse you have to accept that the game can go 40 minutes. You have the 300-point lead, fall back, let the enemy grind into you, get ready to get yourself some artillery, get ready to get yourself some planes, get ready to get yourself a decent AA and AT network, and play it that way, and hit the enemy when they come at you, and don't try to get to the 2000 points too hard. Even in a matchup like this, like, yeah, the Smirch is annoying, but you can still win it if you have the 400-point lead. You just can't win it if you throw away 4000 points in the offensive.
Yeah. A huge hit to my mental health watching KDA win 2 games in a row. But was this our final game, or shall we move to the SCUF versus Forward 34 games that we
I'm absolutely up for some Forward 34 versus SCUF games. So
yes,
guys, we will have 2 more games coming up. Let's freaking go. And yeah, KDA beautifully played by Chai-Chan. Nice to see some ST2 players doing well in WARNO here as well. Some newer ST2 players coming over, and looking forward to see more of Chai-Chan there. And yeah,
coming over to our game, and they're playing our KDA cheese divisions, and they're playing them, using them properly, exploiting their advantages against heavier, more popular divisions. It's a tragedy, really.
And here we go into the final series of the day. Another series from Division 1. In another best of 2 here. SCUF versus Forward. And this is a meta matchup from 2 patches ago, I would say. Still 2 pretty strong divisions, nonetheless. As we have 11th ACAF versus 2nd UK. And that should be a pretty hot one here on a classic map of 2 lakes. And if you want to support these players in their struggles, come on and check out the Metrino page and get their following. And also, if you haven't followed over at Chloride's channel yet, and if you want to have more Chloride in your life, go over to the link in the chat right now and click the follow button there as well for some more lovely WARNO and political talks in Twitch streams there. And yep, thanks for all the click code buttons lately. Getting a couple more in here. It's free money, guys, that you can add to these players and help out the WARNO scene here a bit and make it a bit more attractive for all of these players, for these top level players to participate in these tournaments. So yeah, do your part, guys. And let's see what we can have here now with their part, with 11th versus 2nd UK. What do you think about 11th in this matchup?
11th in this matchup is the significantly more heavier and late game scaling division. So using the very well available recon units as kind of ersatz forward deployment to try to prevent a early game breakthrough by the second, which has large amounts of fast units, has the best special forces in the game, as stated by you in your special forces tier list on youtube.com/SDLeague. And with the limited tank and very heavy infantry availability, the second UK really wants to fight over these towns and does not want to fight outside of these towns. The 11th here has a pretty good infantry, but these infantry have to be on 0 vet to be able to have good enough availability for the late game. And so far, we're seeing that the engineers and the engineer dragons are going to try to contest the Zulu, and they are deploying right in the middle of Zulu, which I think might be a bit of a mistake because the SAS are going to get there early. But even despite this, I believe that a defensive game for Forward 34, maybe bleeding in some points, not necessarily trying to fight in the first 10 minutes, will probably be a better choice than to attempt to challenge the wanted early game of the second in the early game. The second UK is already buying a bunch of Milan 2s, has 2 cards of them, one on trucks on the rovers, and one getting transported in the Hell Arm with the older generation tow missiles on the helicopter itself. So Scuff seems to be prepared to fight off a mechanized assault, and but none of the heavier stuff getting seen here in the opener of the 11th. The second UK play here, the opener seems to be pretty standard. A lot of ATGMs, a lot of SAS, some air mobile scouts, which double as recon units as well as machine gun teams, with even a Rapier FSP-1, one of the better British AA missiles, in addition to the SAS, which of course carry Stingers on their own. And one of the best ways to maybe win the early game here for the 11th would be to have a lot of air units, but that would be pretty predictable and a very bad idea against the SAS, so that is not happening here.
Yeah, we have the action going on now. The SAS actually pushing even deeper now. They don't want to push too deep so that the supporting fire units can't just shoot through the town. It's gonna also be interesting what the Bradleys can do in the north here now versus the Milan 2 and the Hellarm. As the Hellarm, the ATGMs, it has the early tows. They don't have great accuracy, they don't have great damage. They have decent range though, so the links can be annoying here. The Milan 2s also forcing the smoke, whilst the engineers here coming in against the SAS with their CQC capable submachine guns in form of the C8 doing a decent amount. But we have F-16 LGBs already coming in, and that is what you want to use to kill off SAS when they're only in 1s or 2s. So yeah, good kill there. First SAS down. That's how you want to tax them down bit by bit. Best unit to kill them for sure.
Yeah, the engagement here, the engineers are not on engineering distance. The Harrier got a big shot against the units already in the town. Even though there is currently no infantry outside of the 3-man SAS squad right now, even then I don't think this is currently that great of an idea for Forward to push. But if Forward realizes what's going on here, they might be able to exploit this small moment of weakness in the town's defense and try to get back in here. They have managed to smoke the air mobile scouts and the Milan 2, thus freeing the reinforcement route. And infantry reinforcements are already coming in for the Americans. So there might be a moment here in which the British get driven off the town, but the British reinforcements actually not the best.
Oh, the
There are
Milan
carriers.
2? Okay, good reaction there from forward. Too late though. The Milan 2 gets the CV. That will get the +2 here for Scuff. Will keep it alive for a bit longer. Will get Scuff for sure into the 100 point. And the SAS survives and get back to the rover. That is big as well. That should allow Scuff to get more reinforcements in here. Forward had that moment there of opportunity to break through, but no AT on all the infantry to deal with the Saxons. Like, out of all potential units that can block you, Saxons are usually quite unlikely, but they did the job here. 7mm is all they got. They can't engage vehicles, but they can bully infantry without AT, and that's exactly what they did here.
Yeah, they have the Saxons are actually very useful. They're pretty well balanced because they have such a small count of ammunition. But with the smokes and the speed, they can very easily get some free kills against stuff like engineers or engineer dragons if they can just get under the minimum range of the ATGMs. Already a howitzer, a self-propelled howitzer bought by Forward, Forward trying to scale quickly and counter the obvious infantry investment of the British, the obvious infantry investment that was going to come after this push, because the way to hold this down as the British is to take infantry fights. The British have both the terriers, or which are the not reservists but the non-active duty soldiers, as well as the very elite air mobiles and SAS with the specialized equipment and heavy price as well. So mixing those up together and using them both into their differing tasks will allow the British to just counter the standard play of sending in engineers as well as some light vehicles.
Ooh, snipers getting onto dismounted troopers. But good reaction there from Forward, keeping them away. But so far, Scuff's plan does work out. It was on the edge there, but was really close. But the Saxons saving the day here. And the M109s now need to start to get the siege online. It is siege time here for Forward. He needs to get into the town with some heavy hitters. Getting some M1A1s maybe around. M109 for sure a good start. And trying to get the sniper, if slightly off target, might still get the hit. Oh, the snipers actually might just move right into it. Whilst smoke mortars come around as well. But yeah, Forward can't preach this with infantry alone. They need something else here right now. And they don't have that yet. So a bit more time here again for Scuff to hold this. Challenger coming around as well. Bradley got sniped by the Milan too. Oh, this is getting quite brutal here for Forward.
Forward is getting seconded really badly. This is what I said about trying to contest the British in the first 10 minutes. This is the most powerful portion of the game, and Forward's goal here should be to try to minimize the losses and trade well no matter what happens. Saving these infantry units to be revived later is very good, and these infantry units should try to get into the town after the mechanized force and the artillery force have been built up already. There is an I-Hawk, which is very crucial. I-Hawk will be able to one-shot any Harriers, and the LGB bomber will be able to take out some of the outlying troops because of the Rapier FSBs having pretty bad range. But unfortunately, the LGB plane flies to the wrong direction, right above the SAS and into the range of the Rapier. And now that the LGB has been taken out, the Scuff will be able to unload their two 155mm howitzers really close to the town, meaning that they're going to have amazing accuracy considering these are heavy howitzers. And these heavy howitzers will be able to relatively counter the damage that is currently done by the Forward's artillery. Forward's artillery trying to take out the Rapier FSB and managing a stun, but no direct hit so far.
Yeah, Warrior Milans moving around here a bit on the side as well. As we see the first M1A1 coming out now, second M1A1 right behind that. It's not over here for forward, but they will have to start to find a way through that town, and that is always tough. It's not impossible, but it will take some strong engagements from here on out, as they are for sure behind in points. Challenger Mark II moving around, that is a bit risky with M1A1s on the battlefield. Jaguar 2 can punish it decently as well, but currently it's bullying the BGS Schleifer, and it's doing a decent job at that. With the M109s so far not finding the hit that forward wants to find with it.
Yeah, and the reinforcements of SCAF are just a mix of very powerful defensive units such as the Milan 2s and the Rapier FSBs, and a very cheap and large infantry squads such as the air mobile gun groups with 45 points, having 3 machine guns, as well as the 9-man Terrier Pioneers, which, if in close distance to any infantry units, will be able to do a lot of damage to them with the satchel chargers and their shock training. And the problem with 11th is that their units tend to be so expensive that if they don't get some kind of an early position, they're going to have to keep buying expensive troops to attack positions defended by less expensive troops. And even the Challengers, which are pretty bad tanks considering their price, even the Challengers are absolutely in their element when behind a bunch of Milan 2s and on the defensive. So yeah, even more Terriers, AT group, these 25-point units with Carl Gustavs and large amounts of ammunition for them, Rover Milans for 50 points, Air Mobile Scouts for 50 points. They are going to fill this town, which while under bombardment, by 215-point howitzers and 270-point Abramses. And the very few infantry squads on board here will have to rely on the expensive fire support.
And M1A1's rotating around. We have 3 now, so they can start to take out some stuff here. The Milan 2 goes down to the M109. The M109 is a decent sniper in that regard, killing off all Milan 2s. There are still 2 more. That could enable some movement forward again. We have a decent amount of pivots now coming in as AA, which is an interesting investment. I'm not sure if that's the most important unit right now to add to the battlefield, but 3 pivots coming in, another M109, I like that. As you still have 16 minutes here right now as forward. And as you said, they have the way stronger late game. Iltes Führungs close to the M109s to upvet them as well, dodging the enemy counter-artillery nicely as well. Whilst we have a Bradley versus a Warrior, it is, action. As M1A1's disengaging here as well. Bradley's and M1A1 pushed back out of there, though you don't want to give up all the positions around this town. You still want to have some left. Milan 2 coming in with the missile. That's the perfect next target for the M109. Let's see if that happens.
Yeah, if you look at the other town, the southern town has been basically completely undefended, with only the early game Milans and SAS up there. Even SCAF realizing that the defense needs to be stretched a little bit, sending some IFVs to reinforce the town down south. But if you look at this if you look at this engagement here, SCAF is building once again a perfect concave. The most powerful weapon in human history of warfare is the concave, and WARNO is authentic enough of a war game that this does function here as well. The southern and northern positions are pushed by cheap infantry such as the Terriers AT groups and cheap vehicles such as the Saracens and the Warrior Milans, whereas the middle is held by special forces, large recon squads, even with some tank support. And with rocket helicopters right behind, any kind of a large infantry attack can be whittled down first by the Lynxes, and then with the howitzers obviously targeting the attacking positions. Meanwhile, the side attacks are going to be way more difficult because the sides are controlled by the sorts of units, Warrior Milans, for instance, that are not the best. But if a Milan 1 gets shot into your side, or if a Milan, if a warrior meets an AT weaponed infantry squad, such as the engineers here, these vehicles will be able to get some free kills. And this looking really badly for Forward 34 here right now. Not a lot of British units have been killed, but incredible amounts of fire support start being on the board here for the Americans.
Yeah, the M109's coming around. Cyanide helicopter coming around as well. They have a decent amount of infantry in the north. So they run the infantry without veterancy. There is decent veterancy on scuff stuff, and that helps out there for sure. The Milan 2 still being alive in the town is annoying, but yeah, there's another one already brought in, but there's still, outside of that, not that many ATGMs, so if the M1A1s ever get some help with line of sights, they can start firing away here, and they outclass the Challenger Mark II by a good amount. They have the better penetration, they have the better accuracy, they have the better rate of fire. So the Challenger Mark II will have to be careful taking any engagements here directly against the tanks of the 11th.
Yeah, the Sea Knight getting a nice free kill here up there in the Terrier's Pioneer, but even from Scuff's side, those two infantry units that were went on to take some free map control up north, those units were expendable. And meanwhile, behind them, even more Challengers and air mobile scouts are being built, are being sent to the front here. Neither of these players currently firing with their. Actually, no, Forward is aiming with the howitzers, and with these Engineers Dragon and Engineers in the Humvees here, I think Forward is trying some wacky stuff here. They're going in right now. The Terriers AT might, no, they don't have the ability to fire between all of these smokes here. The Engineers get into engineering distance of 175 meters. They start getting huge buffs, even though they are zero vet units. The artillery got some direct hits on the SAS, and these 10-man squads, even though on low cohesion, on touching distance, will be able to do decent damage unless they get routed and forced to retreat.
Yeah, for the F-16 here, suiciding against the Hellarm, not really worthwhile, but the Milans get shut down. The M1A1s pushing forward, got a warrior killed off on the side already. The northern push got stopped as the Javelin kills off the helicopter there, so that is pretty unfortunate, but the Challenger needs to smoke off. Okay, it smokes off in time, otherwise that would have been a big loss. That would have been a really nice kill here for Forward, who is pushing in with the tanks. Now this, oh no, the Cyanide just ate one Javelin. It is still alive. F-16 LGB coming around for the Challenger in the north. It won't kill it, but it will damage it heavily, and the M1A1 might follow it up with a kill. The M1A1 currently stunned down, so not quite happening there either. The F-16 LGB going down, that is unfortunate. Whilst the Engineered Dragons in the center also, yeah, they pushed in there. They got it contested, but they still get pushed back in the end. And I'm not sure if Forward's push really works out here. Like a couple of decent kills, but it's still a good bit away from actually getting a CV back into the zone.
Yeah, but Forward's tanks are still firing and is buying more of them. Forward has lost the F-16 LGBs are very unfortunate, but as long as the bridgehead into the town can be kept up, with destroying these buildings, which the front apartment blocks that were just destroyed by the artillery, this makes Forward's tanks way more powerful because they can keep firing into the town, and the artillery has been getting some really good hits in all throughout this fight here. Counter battery hitting the self-propelled howitzers, stunning them even, but or near direct hits against the Terrier's Pioneer so far. Just the infantry of Forward just doesn't seem to be quite enough here, but reinforcements are still coming in reliably.
Forward losing his most important tool here to deal with the ATGMs though. One M109 dying to counter battery fire. The 155mm artillery of Scuff trying to get it multiple times now. This time around they got it, and that is a really big problem. Cyanide helicopter going down as well. F-16 coming in with a hit against the Challenger, but nothing to follow that up, nothing to get the kill finalized, so that is not happening, and it seems like Scuff is holding on to the town for now. Still has a +2, is 9 minutes away from victory, and 1,300 points in already.
Yeah, the engineer dragons here would be doing well up the front if the if the fire support hadn't retreated right now, and the fire support retreated because there's just an absolute shit ton of stuff right behind them. The Abrams are good, but the Abrams can't survive forever. Not when they're under artillery fire, not when they are at risk of getting airstriked, and not when the constant reinforcement of ATGMs just keeps coming up there. Though the artillery is still getting some hits, not that it's gonna matter that much at this point, as the fire support has already retreated.
Yeah, M109 trying to help out. We'll have to be careful though, we'll need to move. Yeah, it does move this time around. As the artillery of Scuff immediately tries to go for the counter battery again. 50 cal Humvee moving forward. We have a decent amount of Abrams. That is not the issue here forward. It's those are kept alive really nicely. The rest of the units are the issue. But as long as you have 4 Abrams, there is a way, somehow, some way. 4 Abrams can make a lot of stuff happen with a lot of explosives flying down range. But you still need some better angles here than what we have currently going on for forward.
Yeah, the smoke mortars are a great way to build angles, but with only a limited amount of infantry, frankly, limited capacity of the infantry because of their zero vet status, the untrained forces can't really operate here well enough to hold the front on their own. This means that the fire support has to compensate for the fact that the infantry is kind of garbo, and this means that every once in a while, when the tanks have to retreat back, the infantry is just done for. You can't send 2 good, strong infantry units to push one side and then do the same on the other side in the way that the 2nd UK can. You have to send all of your troops into a Schwerpunkt, into a direct assault in a certain position, because the fire support necessitates this. And this means that it's pretty easy to prepare for these fights, and also possible to counter them, let's say, with massed mortars, for instance, which is what Scuff is bringing up right now.
Yeah. Engineers still trying to push through the north. +2 still happening. No push to the south ever attempted by forward, but that's also because if forward moves too many units south, then Scuff could push towards Alpha. Stinger trying to sit around here. M1A1's slowly moving forward. Lots more engineers and engineered dragons come in. And yeah, the 155mm artillery targeting the mortars once more in the rear of forward and trying to get the counter battery done. M109's never tried the same the other way around. The 155mm howitzers would actually be quite easy to kill. They haven't moved at all. But forward too busy dealing with the front line here, and yeah, with the early losses still playing catch up in the killed section, and the M1A1's desperately trying to achieve that now, but let's see if they can do so. Big plop for sure coming in. Question is, can that plop formation be exploited some way? F-16 goes down.
And not even managing to take out the Challenger up the front here, though putting it down on low cohesion, so the Challenger is gonna move back to safety once again.
Yeah, and the Milan 2s goes down. Bradley versus Warrior. Warrior gets stunned down. More fire coming out. We have the Hell Arms around as well, though. Getting some decent hits. We have the mass mortar fire coming around as well. So forward needs to do some movement here soon. Pivot.
Just 5 minutes.
getting on top of the Lynxes. Yeah, 5 minutes to do something. And then it pushed through in the 12 minutes afterwards. So a lot of work to do for forward here. And
Attacking
I'm not
the
sure if that's
most
possible. The M1A1's doing a decent job, but everything else here just lagging a bit behind.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, do you really think that attacking this front line directly, the town directly, is really the smartest thing? Because if you look at the south part of the town, there's a lot more room to maneuver here. Sending some of the tanks to hang around and to push through the southern portion of the town, and which would allow them to start firing at the units behind the landed helicopters, the anti-air units, the repairing challengers. All of this with a simultaneous mech attack down south could maybe get some better results than concentrating everything right in the middle of the concave or the former concave. But yeah, right now it does seem that the stealth and the building advantage and the numbers advantage of the British is just enough to hold against the better tanks.
Yeah, we see the M109 now counter-batterying against the mortars. Starting to get some kills there. M1A1's moving around. The F-16 got the Challenger Mark II pretty low, but it didn't kill it. And the M1A1's here now trying to rotate, but not finding the kills just yet. Humvee under fire by a lot of ATGMs as well. Does survive once more. M1A1 slowly pushing forward. 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining here, and yeah, Scuff on a good way to victory in this game number 1.
Oh no! Now as forward is slowly moving to the passageway south of the building, south of the town. Scuff recognizing this and sending two Milans as well as the Hell Arms to cover this area. Smoke will be able to block the Milan 2s for a moment, but there is an extra rover Milan as well as an armored rifle which would be able to sideshot with its light AT weapons. And yeah, this is really bad here. I mean, this the attempt to go tough against tough, as we say in Finnish, kova kova vastaan, to go toe to toe really against the British when the British have the better positions has not paid off well. Even divisions with stronger AT tabs, such as 3rd US or 8th US, would struggle doing this. But with zero vet infantry, I just think that the attacks just are not powerful enough. The infantry is not capable enough, not even with the best smoke support, not even with the best artillery support. The second UK can just keep buying Terriers Pioneer and air mobiles and recon units, large recon units which double as infantry units because they have so many machine guns. All of the map features here are helping the British win.
Yeah, we have 1 minute 26 now. Forward has to pull the trigger now. Forward is pulling the trigger, but there's too many Milans here. There's 3 Milans in the south. They already hit the CV M1A1 twice. It calls off the smoke, but it doesn't. The M1A1s don't have anything spotting the Milans for them. They would be in gun range, but they just don't see them. They just can't shoot them. Dismounted troopers from the south trying to get around. The rover Milan gets shot, but the M1A1's all too damaged to move on, and with only 54 seconds on the clock, that is not good enough. You need to get into the zone, and that is not happening. And with that not happening, this game most likely is going to end soon. Rapier FSB won with 3,175 meter range against helicopters, doing a good job here against the Cyanides from the ground, and eventually might shoot them down in a second. A lot of blue units dying right now, but that is okay for Scuff. Scuff is just buying time here and just throwing in more units into the meat grinder. More blood for the blood god. Cyanide going down as well. The M1A1s, they needed to be in there a good bit ago, and they haven't moved in there. And the artillery might even find the CV tank here now. And there we go. GG. And it is a Scuff victory here with a really standard classic play on 2 legs. And getting the W there with the second UK against a forward that just wasn't prepared to get in and through there. in the Gale game.
Yeah, you can just look at the kill counts of these A1 Abrams. The amount of infantry that they just ate through slowly all throughout the game was not enough. Nowhere near enough, frankly, to break through here. The tactical strength of the second being able to fast deploy and immediately fill with powerful Milan 2 ATGMs. This means that the early investment into tanks would have been risky. There were only CEVs, the combat engineering vehicles, coming for the American sides, which meant that the very first fights that were done with infantry were the British elite special forces going against zero vet engineer squads from the Americans with no fire support. And from that very start, when the Americans were driven out, it was pretty clear that this there needed to be something else, something but infantry versus infantry battles. And both players, both Scuff and Forward, invested everything into trying to capture that one very small location. And by the end of the game, I think it was pretty clear to everybody whose division was better suited into that fight.
Yeah, also the Milan 2s that got through the town after the early fight, that survived, luckily because of the Sax, or like not quite luckily, but thanks to the good Saxon play and the lack of AT on the other side, like a single Panzer Grenadier there with a single Panzerfaust 44, and the whole town would have fallen. But the Milan 2s didn't get pushed out. They were able to snipe the Cavs on the way out and so on, and that disrupted the whole early momentum of the 11th, and that just won the game from there, as the grind afterwards didn't go well enough. Good counter battery, good smoke, good infantry grinding there from Scuff, keeping the +2 alive and getting the W, and with that, putting Forward here on the point. One more map to be played between these two, and Forward needs a win there to get the draw in the series at least, with Scuff only needing a draw in game number 2. So let's see what that will bring. And hey, thanks for gifting a SIF to Witty 1988 there. So hope you're having a good day there. Interesting games from you there earlier today. Really, really wild games between you and Mr. Fortitude fans. And yeah, quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with that last game of the day here. so here we go. The final match of the day with Scuff versus Forward on Black Forest. Another one of the early Warno maps coming around here, though this one has even heavier rework scene than what we saw on Two Legs in the past. And we have an interesting matchup for the current state of this map. As on the right side, Forward bringing around 24th Infantry. On the left side, Scuff with the 11th Para. And what do you think should be Forward's game plan here, and what do you think about his deployment, Chloride?
So 24th Mech might be my favorite division. I really like the mixing of the large amount of IFVs and ATGMs with some of the working class grit, which means that they lack some of the best American units, such as the A1 Abramses and the mech rifles. But 24th, despite having a reputation, a deserved reputation of a very slow and defensive division, it has a lot of resources that a lot of assets that it can use to play in surprising ways. It has the standard complement of Cobras as well as a National Guard Apache if needed. It has the Kiowas, and it has these National Guards ITO cars, the Jeeps for 50 points for 4 ITOs. And on this map especially, those cars are amazing force multipliers. You can fast deploy them and put them into positions where they can hold until the rest of the game happens, and you can replace them with more powerful, more stable units. And so far, looking here, we're gonna see Forward likely taking the free position, or trying to take the free position of North, but only sending a sniper in here, because obviously the side with the forward deployment advantage will be able to get to Charlie first. And on the rest of the map, we're going to see a investment into the middle of Bravo, which will have the American infantry try to hold these right side buildings on Bravo. The infantry themselves won't be able to stop the French, but all the other stuff, the Bradleys, the tanks, the helicopters, they will be able to stop the French, most likely. And if the French infantry can be pushed out of the western side of Bravo, the next logical push is to go to Foxtrot. Foxtrot is an open area. It favors mech gameplay and disfavors infantry gameplay. And generally the way for 11th to hold it will be with ATGMs in these quite predictable locations. And 24th has more than enough artillery to, and even the Strike Eagle LGB bombers to take out any of these defenses on Foxtrot. So the standard way here that is followed, in my opinion, take Bravo, do fire superiority over and around Bravo, and then rotate to Foxtrot when you have scaled well enough.
Yeah, and on the other side, with 11th, we have a standard push towards Bravo into the buildings ahead of it. We have a decent number of units going up north just to make sure that you have enough there if the enemy by random invests into it. But giving up Charlie is the standard go against forward deploy and airborne divisions like 11th. So no surprise there that Forward does give it up, and Scuff does call the bluff a bit, though doesn't call it fully, and then has some units towards Foxtrot as well. The most important part will be the fight around Bravo, and it seems like there might be room for an aircraft. I think there's a decent amount of points here on the battlefield. I don't believe it's quite 1,500, so 1 or 2 aircraft here coming in early, most likely for Scuff to try to bomb the infantry off Forward out of position, and I'm not sure Forward has a fighter around that can be brought in here.
They do get the 185 point Phantoms, so there could be a standard way to play air on top level is to hold the points until you see the enemy reveal their hand. If the enemy does not but have an early fighter, then you don't buy an early fighter. But if the enemy does have an early fighter, you save the points to do that. I think that's pretty standard if you're opening with a Kiowa and actually just one Cobra now. They deleted one of them, but yeah, the Kiowa will be able to spot the convoy of the French moving into Bravo here, and there's the VLRA 20, and those things are maybe a bit too powerful considering what they are. They have very good accuracy, even on movement.
Yeah, Mirage 2000s around in the sky. The Cobra and the Kiowa tried to fight this, which I'm pretty surprised by. That's a death sentence for both of these helicopters, most likely. They tried to get away.
Wasting the rockets at the
Cobra
Sagai.
does survive. We have the Eagle, but oh, the Mistral gets the kill there. Eagle coming around for the Mirage. Can it find the kill there? It damages, and it should get it on the way out. So, at least some victory there. Yeah, Eagle coming around, gets the kill there. Mirage goes down. So, that is okay. Gets the ERC with an ATGM. That is big as well. The usage of the helicopter is not the best out of forward. Should have known about the real RA. You always bring that as the French, as it is.
Yeah, and
just so good.
even if you know about it, target the soft trucks. Don't let the rockets be wasted on hitting the only armored vehicle. If they had targeted the soft trucks, they could have been able to take out the Legionnaire Paras before they were able to jump out of the cars. But so far, even though the losses happened there, the American forces here do seem to be a bit more in a better position. Both the southern and northern sides are held by American recon. There are ATGMs both on the southern and northern sides, with a sniper actually engaging down south against the para-éclaireurs that are trying to push up, most likely getting killed very fast because snipers do a lot of damage with when the sniper trait is open. Yes, smartly Scuff is running away with this little poking attack. The Forward 34 is bringing the 10-man military police squads with a decent amount of machine guns. The
Milan
engineer
2 gets the kill though on the Bradley. That's another important unit killed off here in the center. We see the Sevilla forward coming in, but yeah, that is another bloody loss. It's still a decent amount of infantry here for forward, but their combat arms is not as strong as you would expect. At the same time, Scuff coming up with a CV here into Bravo as well, and that will get Scuff up to a +4 even, as they have both Foxtrot and Charlie.
So a nice point about here. Often disliked, the NG fire teams are pretty decent in exactly these situations because they have 2 medium machine guns, and so as long as they can just act as fire support where the engineers take the hits, the NG fire teams can they pack a little bit of a punch. The reinforcements are coming in form of more NG Bradleys, and my favorite units in the game, as well as more zero-vet fire team 84s, and the 24th has a good tab of logistics, and they, as long as they don't sacrifice their units and don't get taken out by the ATGMs, speaking of which, it's not going to be that difficult to trade up against the French. The slower this game goes right now, the better it is for Forward 34, as well as long as this +3 tick can be transformed into maybe a +1 tick.
Yeah, the artillery coming in, Cav moving around a bit, got rid of the SAS Paras, the engineers and the NG fire team getting close to the Para command as well, getting some TNT on target there. Cav needs to be careful. Another target for the Milan 2. The Milan 2 really on fire so far or getting feeded rather. Whilst we have the F-15 coming in again. This time around though, 1 versus 2. And at that moment the F-15 could potentially win. It loses this time around though. Second F-15 coming around. Ook, Mirage might not be able to kill it. The second F-15 missing its missiles though. And that might be the death sentence. No, it gets out just in time. Oh my goodness, such a close fight. The F-15 just not getting its missiles on target here. But it finally finishes off one of the Mirages, and the Mistrals from the ground can't help out either. The high ECM of the F-15 just so strong.
buying 2 more Paramilan 2s here, which signals of Scuff recognizing what is to come. CEVs, Cobras, and NG Bradleys coming in as reinforcements. The Cobra immediately getting tagged by the Mistral, but there is no second Mistral, so the first, so some rockets can be launched here. This is a really bad position for Scuff here. Scuff is forced to hold on to a small sliver of tightly packed of warehouses with no place to run. With enough fire superiority and with some artillery, this is all just gone. Scuff really needs to start doing something right now. This current situation, just playing standard on forward side will bring victory, I think. Forward moved the sniper in to push the south, but the Scuff has a 50 cal truck that is countering the sniper at the same time. 2 of the NG Bradleys get taken out by the reinforced Paramilan 2s, blunting a little bit the fire support that forward is bringing out here. But the forward's CEVs will be there, and by the time those things start shooting, they're going to be even to fortified enemy infantry squads. They do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I have to be critical of forward's mortar fire here. It has already not been that great in the first game. I think it didn't really get the smokes on the right spots, and it doesn't do that this game either. Like, the mortar might have just been better firing HE at this point. That might have killed Milan or 2 just by firing HE constantly, or at least stunned them down enough that they had to move. But currently the mortars just using smoke on spots where they don't help out too much. The National Guard Bradleys still die in droves. And
yeah, I think they didn't realize that there were multiple Milan 2s and kept smoking the one that they knew about, and still are keeping smoking it actually. Though the sniper is doing, the sniper unspotted is firing at the other Milan 2s and spotting them for the CEVs that now came in.
yeah,
Forward
the
is bringing
CVs
out
getting
National
immediately
Guards
hit though again. The Milan 2s doing a decent job there still. Apache National Guard coming in. And yeah, Scuff has to be careful to not lose everything at once and then be overrun. Outside of that though, the +2 is looking good. They get some ambushes with Legionnaire Paras on the enemy rear line as well. They get some ERC-90 Sagai into the rear in the north as well. So they do what you want to do with 11th in that regard. And the frontline fights still go decent. They don't go amazingly right now, but they still go decent, whilst the +2 is what you want to be at this stage as this 11th.
Yeah,
We
but
see
so
F-15 in the sky. We don't see a Strike Eagle yet. We don't see any other aircraft for attacking. Winning air dominance as 24th is big against 11th. 11th's air tap is quite annoying to deal with if they can use their attack aircraft. And on the other hand, they don't have a ground AA that can shoot down your Strike Eagle too easily. So that might be a problem for Scuff, and the push-2 still happens here.
the CEV getting side shot, but this time by a Milan 1, so the CEV does survive if it gets microed here. The sniper gameplay for forward has been really good. I have gotten into using the snipers as DPS units when I recognize that they get a 500% damage buff when they stand still for 10 seconds, and in practice this means that they can take out infantry squads really well, and using them to kind of creep up and engage enemy infantry that can't shoot back because of the range, it can be a really big boon here. And I like forward to using these both snipers very tactically. NG Apache taking out the one Legionnaire in the back line, and engineers with military police are engaging or are entering Charlie up north. And this Charlie battle... Oh, and meanwhile, the Bradley behind the lines has targeted and is actually taking out the reinforcements for Scuff, while Scuff is trying to micro against both attacks, both down in the middle and up north. Still hasn't realize that this is happening. The
Yeah, that's
Sagai
2
might
AA
be able to
units
fight.
down that were supposed to go up north. That's Mistral and the AA gun down, and that means the Apache has no opposition up north right now. This is really good for forward right now. This might allow forward to stop the take, and then forward can start to chill out a bit more, start to focus on how to break the enemy. We have double 105mm cheap howitzers now on the side of Scav, trying to take out the sniper. They might be able to do it. They are still
Not
pretty
doing
bad
any
and inaccurate.
damage. Incredible.
And Apache actually goes down to a single Mirage F1C, getting the strafing in there. Strike Eagle coming around. Good kill on the Apache there. The Bradley in the rear still being obnoxious. Has been found by, or figured out by Scuff by now, but Scuff hasn't found the solution just yet. Strike Eagle coming around. Ooh, Sagai gonna die there, and nothing here to deal with that Strike Eagle, so the Strike Eagle will get both bombs out, and that is an issue.
Yeah, the northern position here, largely due to the Bradley, the Sagai has stopped after losing another truck here, and a recon chopper Gazelle cannon is going to help to take out this recon Bradley on the back lines. But so far, the Americans have kind of solidly taken Charlie, and the lack of reinforcements there will allow them to, especially with the Strike Eagle, will likely allow them to hold it and to turn this tick tide. No, the leader, the leader, infantry leader that they bought was taken out by the Sagai recon at the back lines.
And the
Oh, that
Mirage
is horrible.
actually gets the Strike Eagle, as the Strike Eagle turns just at the wrong moment. Mirage number 2 gets the kill onto the F4 Phantom as well. The somewhat weaker French strike aircraft that are still pretty solid though, managing to get the fight here. Bradley kills the recon Gazelle cannon, so the Sagai still can't kill it, but the +2 does continue for now, and forward losing the Strike Eagle, that is pretty big, but forward at the same time coming in for the push now in the south. Foxtrot is in a lot of danger as Bradley's coming in there, and there is only a Milan 1 and one Para Milan. They could potentially do a lot of damage here, but if forward is microing it nicely, they should be able to stop that. First, National Guard Bradley already going down though, but the P4 goes down to the National Guard Bradley number 2.
Yeah, those things NG Bradleys are really good, but they're 60 points. Like you can afford to lose some of them. Their strength is in the fact that you can have them all around the map. That even if you take out a couple of them, the rest of them will still have enough firepower to break through whatever you're putting up at them. Like now, the artillery of Scuff has been kind of silent here, even though there is a cornucopia of stacked up infantry targets really close to them. I think this speaks of the fact that this is very micro-intensive for Scuff. The 434's Bradley managing to take out another recon unit, and even the Sagai gets stunned here. This Bradley is really making problems for Scuff.
Oh no, the Sagai gets killed. Yeah, this Bradley is just winning the game right now. Oh my goodness.
Even gonna level up.
The Jaguar trying to come in, but the double F-15 already waiting for it. Oh, those Bradley is just costing all the resources. The second Mirage F200 trying to get it in, but gets shut down by the second F-15. Oh, this is complete disaster for Scuff here right now. Forward is dominating thanks to that one freaking Bradley in the north. Like the rest of the map, they were doing decently as well, but this just makes it into a domination position right now, as all the reinforcements that were supposed to go to Charlie, all the attention that was going there is dead, and the couple of good air kills don't matter. The Sagai on the other side getting a couple of decent kills, being annoying as well, but the Kiowa already spotted it now.
It has killed at least 2 command vehicles already, both heading to north to Charlie. And I think if this yeah, if Charlie was already taken, now that Foxtrot is getting taken, this is like a GG moment for Scuff. Like Scuff doesn't have anything on the board here, not just because of the Bradley. The Recon Bradley has 12 TOW2 missiles, by the way. So it's got even more than the standard Bradley. So it basically never runs out. It took some time for Scuff to realize that it was there, and it took even more time for Scuff to actually try to take it out. Currently, there's a guy fighting half a CEV and 2 Kiowas that are desperately trying to get it off their backline. But yeah, there is currently the forwards mechanized force is moving to the back point at Echo, and there's barely anything to stop them.
Yeah, the units here just overwhelmed. The 105mm is not really doing much. The engineers pushing forward. And the Bradley in the north coming in with another hit. The Jaguar AT finally takes it out, but there's nothing on the front line because of all of this. And the front line is just keeping collapsing. Alpha already gets pushed by a lot of infantry. We see the P4 Milan trying to snipe the light formation of forward, trying to get into them. Gets the kill onto the Bradley. The National Guard ITO is empty, so the P4 Milan most likely will get that killed as well. But there's 2 infantry units against 7. There are M1s around already, whilst there's only 1 P4 Milan on the other side. Like, the balance of power here is completely devastating. And Scuff, yes, they have 1,282 points, but it's still 22 minutes here, and it seems like forward is going to a point where they might have all zones on the map and on a +8 here pretty soon. National Guard's M1 actually got sniped by the Legionnaire Para with the Apilas. Like, Scuff is still getting some decent kills here lately, but I don't think it's enough. Yeah, adding another Bradley there. That is annoying, but there's so much infantry, and they have the air dominance here.
The problem with 11E is that 11E, outside of aircraft, doesn't really have ways to attack positions that are held by tanks. They can't go toe-to-toe. They don't have specialized cluster artillery. They don't have any special tricks that they can pull out of their sleeves. They just have the aircraft and the ATGMs. And with enough chaparrals and pivots, as well as the eagles ruling the skies, the Jaguars just won't be able to destroy even these National Guards Abrams that are all around the map, going to be all around the map here. And on the defense, the tanks will just hold forever, and that's this means that any kind of future attack at 20 minutes in are going to be defensive and close quarters units attacking and trying desperately to get hits on tanks that can both move away quickly and repair pretty quickly, considering 24th is not short of logistics.
Yeah, we see 105mm artillery pieces here now, dealing with the laws, dealing with the scouts, but there's just no infantry here. The take has been stopped. Now we see the first bit of take for forward, and Scuff is trying to hold on. Scuff might not quite know how far behind they are on the battlefield right now. It's always a bit tougher for the players to keep up, as they obviously don't have this God's eye view that we have. But the VLRA here running directly into the fireteam laws already, and even if Sapper Flams start to get in there, they will struggle. F-15 Eagles overextending here a bit, as we have a lot of Mirages, a lot of air investment here. Strike Eagle eating a good amount of damage, but it does survive, and that is the important part. Gets the Sapper Flam, and all the air investment of the French here doesn't really help out right now with the ground. Kiowa Warrior, or Kiowa, gets killed off, but so does the seed plane. And we have Chaparrals moving in. Gazelle Cannons, they have a lot of work to do if they want to clean this out. And the +2 does continue. CV Mud on the way to Alpha, that will make it a +4. And a +4 will be good enough to turn the game here completely around in a decent time.
Yeah, but down south the NG Abrams is moving. It doesn't realize that the only unit that can fight against it has run out of its missiles, so the Abrams can just Q move forward, followed up by the MUT. Nothing there to really deal with them, and Scott's reinforcements are not even moving to help secure the bottom point. They're currently kind of. Maybe I was thinking that they're maybe trying to attack to Charlie, but the attack consists of a Milan 1 and Mistral. That's not the most powerful attacking units.
Yeah, Mutt getting in here now. +2 National Guard Abrams getting some kills in the south against real RAs as well. Mistral and Milan over there a bit stuck. The Mirage is out again, but the zone now gets fully captured there in Alpha. The Mistrals, the Mirages, you might even want to use them for strafing, but there is too much A now to do that risk-free. And the 105mm howitzers, they are just not really good artillery pieces. They are cheap and all, but their maximum range means that they have really bad accuracy on long-range fire, and they need direct hits to do anything of significance, and even then they need a couple of those to kill any sort of infantry unit.
Yeah, there is no recon out here to give them corrected shot either. So in practice, gonna be quite incapable of actually dealing with these fortified 10-man squads.
More AT planes coming around. Really fully investing into the airplay here now. Jaguar saw the Abrams in the south, but not able to get on top of it. The infantry might want to move away. Milan 1 moving around. Engineer already coming in. We have a push of some sort both into the north and into Alpha, but there are more and more infantry units coming in for forward into Alpha. There are M109s now also targeting the artillery of Scuff, so the 105mm most likely soon gonna go down as well. And the +3 alone already pretty strong. National Guard M1A1 pushing through the south right now, and Scuff might be able to hold there with the Milan 2 for now. That coming in pretty clutch. Could have nearly been sniped in transport there. The Jaguar AT should come down there to finish it up, the Abrams off.
Oh, meanwhile, the counter battery, very long range counter battery, striking directly into the 105s. And the Stingers managing
struggling
to take
with
out
the ECM of the F-15, gets some damage, but the Jaguar goes down and they can't kill off the F-15. The Stingers from the ground might get a kill onto another Mirage, nope, but they keep it off the battlefield, and there's too much defense here. Scuff lost the Milan in the northern push. There is a Bradley and the Cav now to push the chasseurs back when they try to come in, and the +3 is real. The National Guard Abrams in the south goes down to the Milan 2 in the end, but that is not enough to turn the game around. Chasseurs pushing forward through the town. Maybe with good CQC infantry here, winning against the National Guard infantry in the town could be helpful, but with not winning the north, that would not stop the problem. That would still leave the enemy on a +2. If the north would get captured, then I would say there might be a way back here by somehow grinding gruesomely through Alpha, but with Charlie being lost, I don't think that's of any help and significance here either.
Yeah, I mean, 11th has fallen out of favor now that it's not complete bullshit, overpowered, aggro, rush, blah, blah, you know? Now that 11th only has a good infantry opener, it really can't do anything afterwards. Like, as long as the fights happen on 11th's terms, of course 11th's gonna do well. If they even their artillery specifically kind of works only in these kinds of town fight situations, but they can't attack. They don't have the stuff to attack. The way that they would attack a position would require both a lack of infantry anti-air or anti-air in general, and an air supremacy, like a Gazelle cannon to peek or the tanks and then firing smokes and sending infantry up there, that would be the only way for them to be able to attack a normal, likely defended position of 24th at this point of the game. 24th has so many of these Bradleys, both the cheap ones and the more expensive ones. They can afford to keep buying tanks even when they lose some of them to side shots or random Apila shots. And the Strike Eagle will be able to fly underneath the heavier anti-air defenses of the Americans and take out and blunt any attacks or breakthroughs that the French may get. So yeah, at this point, Scuff is kind of flailing. There was no way for Scuff to keep up the attack after losing these positions and after losing all the momentum, not just to the backline Bradley, but also to
Scuff might still have a victory here though. Kills the CV on the way. Already killed another CV into Alpha. How many CVs are there still on the battlefield? He killed 2 more earlier. If he kills the one in the north and gets the para command in there, he still has 500 points. There is another military police leader. Okay, that is frustrating. Otherwise, that could be a win condition here. We have seen that many times in the past. People getting a bit too overconfident with their CVs, and then they just run out of it in the most crucial moments. That could be the one win condition, but the CV in the north is too safe, and the one of Scuff, I don't believe it can get in there. Though, with the nice snipe here by the Million 2 against another CV of forward, that actually is a bit of a possibility, but Scuff still tries to grind through the town with infantry fight, and the chasseurs actually even kind of managed to do that. So the military police and engineers now arriving should be able to stop that completely.
Yeah, the ERC at 90 up north went on to kill the Bradley, but got stunned by the Fireteam Dragon on the way in. And right as the Bradley's smoke dissipated, the autocannon managed to kill the armored car for free. And now the Bradley is opening fire on the Paracommand, and the Paracommand is going down hard. The CEV also spotting it and firing it at it with its massive Top Gun launcher.
Yeah, Milan 2 not in position to fire onto the Bradley. Bradley gets the para, and yeah, that kind of burrows the last kind of hope here, as getting the kill onto the CV somehow, and then getting the north captured. That could have been a way to stop forward here, maybe. Though forward still having 1 more CV on the battlefield, but that didn't happen. Forward also now having more infantry again here in the Alpha zone. Artillery trying to help out here for Scuff, but Chasseur is already pretty stumped down as well. M1A1 coming in. Forward lost a lot of units here in the south, a bit unnecessarily lately. Could have been into Echo with a bit more consolidation on the push, but kept the pressure up, keeps the +2 coming, and is now only 3 minutes away from turning the game around completely and getting the tick ahead. And with still 11 minutes remaining, that is totally fine and good enough here. And yeah, Scuff would need to stop that, and the chances of that going down with every second here and every unit dying. Mirage 2000s die, Chasseurs die, Gazelle Hots die, more blue units dying, more red units staying alive and coming in onto the battlefield, and that is a really big issue here. Strike Eagle out already again, most likely hunting for any unit of value like CVs, and there are not even that many of those kind of units on the battlefield anymore.
Yeah, the sending Chasseur Paras, P4 Milans, Legionnaires, Gazelles. This is just it's like the 11th doesn't have the capacity to attack. I don't know what the logic was behind choosing 11th on this map. I mean, the backline actions work well, and the infantry squads 1v1 against anything that 24th has are of course better. But after the opener, the the 11th position has just slowly gotten worse and worse. They're on Black Forest, which is famously, at least it is considered to be a slow map, even though I believe you do have some stats that speak otherwise. That these are all 1-point positions. Outside of the back points, these are all 1-point zones, which means that closing down games early is really unlikely, and it's more likely in a later game for your opponent to get into the chance where they can afford to lose tanks and it not really matter in the end of the game.
And we have 11 work on the map. I think you need the ERC a bit more actively in that kind of scenario, though. Strike Eagle going down, like a bit more shenanigans with the ERCs around the flanks, getting a couple more kills, staying a bit more agile. Instead, we saw a big infantry grind that just waited to get hit by artillery and so on. And the Cavs really doing a good job there, even though they died a bit too easily in my eyes. But outside of that, the +3 is now happening. We are only seconds away from forward, getting ahead in points here as well. And Scuff still trying desperately to get into the northern point, but Sagai plus infantry not really good enough, and even with the northern point capture happening, he would still need to kill the unit on the other side. Ooh, Jaguar HE, can it find the CV? It can find the CV. That draw is possible if it happens quickly now. There are no CVs outside of the one in the north right now. That is a bit scary for forward, though only for a couple more seconds, as outside of that, I don't think they will lose any other points. But if Charlie gets neutralized and the unit there gets killed, that still might be possible. Sagai smokes off P4 Milan versus Bradley. Both sides missing. And forward only 40 points away from victory now. Mirage not seeing the CV. You could check out generally where the CV might be based on how the split in the zone goes. So a bomber could help out, maybe just sniping it. But the ERC goes down. Ooh, that is the disaster right now. ERC goes down after all, and with that, you can't capture the zone in the north. The +1 would at least continue, and the +1 is just about to get the push far enough. So the game pretty much over here at this stage, as in a couple of seconds forward will have enough points. Mirages get another Phantom. Another Mirage goes down though. And yeah.
Yeah, so far, I mean, yeah, you were correct about the fact that there could be a lack of command units, especially considering how many the backline units, the backline ERC managed to kill them. But another NG fireteam leader is coming up, even to the middle town, where the American infantry is completely unopposed right now, and yes, this the group anti-chars are getting bought, so I think some of the infantry might be running out of infantry even. This has been a uncharacteristically long game for 11E, and yes, this
here we go.
Finally tapping out.
The points were too high for forward. Scuff didn't have any chance, and we have a draw between these two players. Also surprised that we didn't see the Marines as much in this game, but outside of that, yeah, forward with a solid game here, playing after a couple of mistakes in the early game, really solid. Scuff got a decent amount of points, but forward kept it together this time around with a good combined arms, and didn't quite throw as many units away as in the early game of the last game, and got the win here in the end with that, and yeah, got the W.
Yeah, the Bradley called Rhodes. You can see how much it actually managed to take. I mean, mostly supporting units such as the Paramistral, Paramilans, and but in the end, I think the tactical disadvantage of not being able to reinforce using that route at the same time as basically 2 zero-red infantry units were taking Charlie all by themselves. Well, not by themselves. They were supported by some aircraft. But nevertheless, these kinds of backline actions can work not necessarily because of the amount of units they kill, because stopping them can be pretty cheap. You only have to have a single unit with some kind of an AT launcher sitting around in a forest, and you can stop these backline actions. A 50-point car with some ATGMs can also work in that respect. But the strategic effect, the fact that your opponent suddenly recognizes that they're going to have to start spending points. When you're playing Warno, there's always stuff that you want to buy. I mean, at least if you're playing it properly. You should always be thinking, oh, I wish I had more points. I need to have this thing here, this thing here. And when a problem such as a backline unit emerges, that can mix up your stuff completely. And if you're playing a division that doesn't do well in the late game, that can absolutely be deadly.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to see how these two move forward. With drawing here, the chances of making it into the playoffs hasn't really changed much. They get a bit safer from being eliminated, but also, yeah, having to move on to the playoffs in Division 1 only means getting into the top 2 out of 4. So it's a bit easier maybe, but also getting eliminated is easier as you only 1 out of 4 instead of 1 out of 5 gets eliminated into Division 2 next season. So still important points here. We will have more of the group stage coming up over the next couple of days. And yeah, this is it here for today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't followed over at Chlorides, consider doing so now. If you haven't followed over here, do so right now, both on YouTube and on Twitch. And if you have a Twitch Prime laying around, maybe consider supporting the channel as well, allowing us to commentate and cast more. Thanks to all of your support, I was able to reduce my work hours from 40 to 34 hours, so I have a bit more time for Twitch and YouTube and SDL and some other times RL as well. So big thanks for that again, guys. Thanks for all the support. It means a lot. Every Twitch subscription there helps out and allowing me to make this a bit more of my life. So really much appreciation there for all of you who consider it worthwhile subscribing. And yeah, thanks for watching.
And thank you from me too. And if you want to see some Warno content, I actually have a bunch of VODs, both from today when I played against a former rank 1 player called Gnef, as well as a very long 5-hour stream a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and we will go into more ruled waves later today, as after I ate my dinner for some late night ruled waves 3, guys. So for all of you who want to see some more boating, be around in an hour time, and we're gonna go boating a bit more. And yeah, for that, we see you later. Now, I will send you over to another Warno channel here with Mr. Brotherhood of Terra, who is playing his Warno campaign at the moment. So have fun over there for now. See you in an hour with Rule the Waves, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.